What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 7KD Chapter 141. Luffy is abolished, and the Drum of Liberation erupts. 2 more kneels for subscription. No, faced with such a scene, Luffy, who was in the 5th super peak state, let out a desperate roar. Why? Why is this so? What kind of monster is this ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei? After entering the awakened state, the space was gradually rubberized, making it easy for him to easily cause spatial rifts when attacking with all his might, so, after the crazy explosion, he punched out countless rubberized spatial rifts, covering and swallowing the body of the sea ancestor. Well, now, the blow that he is proud of has no effect at all, and the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, is still suspended in midair unscathed. Does this make Luffy unbelievable and unacceptable? At the same moment, the people in the ring and the countless people watching the live broadcast on the sea, including Naval Headquarters Staff Officer He, 950, Momosagi and others, as well as various officials of the world government, celestial dragons, almost all looked shocked beyond measure. Attacks are useless. After Luffy's explosion, it seems that it still failed to break the defense of the ancestors of the sea. What's more, Luo Lei didn't seem to even use the energy of armament hockey in the Black Ball, relying purely on his flesh to resist the attack of Straw Hat Luffy. Just kidding, right? Luffy's dazzling attack didn't have the slightest effect. Zoro couldn't help but swallow his saliva, and the cold sweat on his forehead had begun to fall to the ground drop by drop. How so? Sanji, Luo, Kid, Robin, Uta, Beckman and others all showed a little despair, and there was only one thought in their minds, that is this sea ancestor really invincible? XJ. The body of the sea ancestor can already reach the realm of immortality, right? What? No. Impossible, right? If that's the case, then who can beat the ancestors of the sea? Rox, Roger, Whitebeard, Golden Lion Shiki, Zephyr, red-haired Shocks and others looked at each other, and they could see the uncertainty in their eyes, and they knew very well that if that was the case, Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, was almost invincible, and they were afraid that if it wasn't for they would be slapped several times. Worthy of being Lord Luo Lei, ha ha ha, Luffy's attack power in the awakened state is very strong, but it is far from being the opponent of Luo Lei's boss. Advertisement, Lord Luo Lei, YYDS. At this time, the most happy and excited are Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Ember, Quinn and others, as well as the pirates of the Straw Hat Grand Alliance who have just chosen to stand with the ancestors of the sea, the Green Bowl of Marine, Fujitora, Kizaru, the Dark Horse, and the cadres of the Revolutionary Army. Especially those who chose to stand in line with Luo Lei, they all involuntarily breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing Luffy's crazy explosion, they still had some worries in their hearts. Well, now it's superfluous to worry about anything, and it is a wise choice to stand in line with the ancestors of the sea. Sure enough, the ancestor who owns the body of 6 paths has reached an ultimate. In midair, Luo Lei felt that his unspoiled body was very satisfied. As he expected, 6 paths ancestral man almost belongs to the existence of Bug. Nope. I don't believe it. At this time, the breath on Luffy, who was in a state of despair, fluctuated, especially looking at the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, who was suspended in midair like a god, and was even more unwilling to go to ultimate. Starting with East Blue, he is like the pride of heaven. All the way, he finally ascended to the position of 4 emperors, and is already launching a final attack on One Piece. Now facing the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, it seems that he has been knocked back to the prototype at once, and emotions such as discomfort, resignation, unwillingness, anger and so on are constantly flashing in Luffy's heart. Ultimately Luffy gritted his teeth and flew out again, intending to continue the attack. Rubber, Big, Ape King Gun. The next moment, an unwilling voice sounded. Luffy, who was in the 5th super peak state, once again flew out and launched a new round of attacks on the sea ancestors. In the face of Luffy's attack, Luo Lei showed a light smile, and as soon as his heart moved, a truth-seeking ball flew out instantly. So, under the gaze of countless people, a black sphere the size of a fist collided directly with Luffy's fist, which was hundreds of times the size of the fist. There was no imaginary scene of destroying the world and erupting with a deafening roar, because Luffy's giant fist, wrapped in armament hockey, Conqueror's hockey, and the energy of the human fruit, Phantom Beast, and Nika form, was directly destroyed after contact with the fist-sized black sphere. Not good. Advertisement Luffy's expression changed abruptly, and he wanted to retreat, but found that it was too late, and everywhere the black ball touched, it was instantly annihilated, and it passed through his right fist in the blink of an eye. A scream sounded. Luffy looked at his disappeared right hand, a roar sounded in his mind, and he couldn't help but show a look of horror. What's the situation? Even if his right arm has been rubberized, it has actually been annihilated and disappeared. Doesn't that mean that has he become a waste? Are you distracted? Syllable, another crisp voice sounded. Luo Lei's body flashed and appeared in front of Luffy, and he slapped him out again. In his opinion, Luffy in the 5th super peak state is really just that. If Joey Boy doesn't show up, then it's time to send Straw Hat Luffy for one last ride. Thundered. A deafening roar resounded, and Luffy, who was in the state of Nika, smashed into the ring hundreds of meters away, plus 4.0 more times and vomited a few mouthfuls of blood. Quiet. In the face of this one-sided crush, there was silence in the ring, and it seemed that it had not yet reacted. But at this time, bang bang. A sound that sounded like a heartbeat sounded. In the beginning, the sound is still small, As time passes by second, this heartbeat sound is getting louder and louder, and it begins to touch the soul, making many people's heartbeats continue to accelerate. And when everyone looked in the direction from which the sound came, they found that the sound of the heart beating was coming from the Straw Hat Luffy, who had just been slapped away. Chapter 142, The Most Hurt Power. That's right, it's from the Straw Hat Luffy, suddenly. Whether it was many people at the scene, even the countless people on the sea who were watching the live broadcast were stunned, and immediately showed a puzzled look. What's the situation? At such a moment, how could Luffy's heartbeat be so loud? It won't be a precursor to the return of light, for a second. 8 seconds, 12 seconds, as time goes by. Bang bang. The heartbeat sound of Luffy is getting more and more rapid, making the heartbeat of many people at the scene become more and more rapid. In particular, the sound of heartbeat is getting louder and louder, like a roar, sounding in the minds of countless people. In the beginning, a lot of people in the ring haven't noticed anything yet. When the sound of heartbeats had begun to affect the touching spirit, they all showed extremely shocked expressions. What's wrong with Luffy? Zoro showed a puzzled expression and said, something feels wrong. Oh 9. I want to laugh. Kid suppressed the urge to laugh and said incredulously, this heartbeat is really too magical, people can't help but forget all their troubles, and only some happy things are left in their minds. That's right. Listening to this sentence, Luo Lei made a surprised voice and said, I feel that the things suppressed in my heart are like feathers, and the more they float, the more relaxed I am. All the troubles are gone. Advertisement, I don't know what's going on, The anger and fear in my heart towards Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, has dissipated. I don't have any worries anymore, and I don't feel important except breathing. I want to laugh too, I really want to laugh out loud. Sanji, Robin, Usopp, Chopper, Uda, and others also showed extremely shocked expressions, and after glancing at each other, they could see the doubts in their eyes. The ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, deposed Luffy with the force of destruction and decay. They are ready for a final desperate fight, and now, at the critical moment, the deposed Luffy has undergone another unknown transformation. Just by the sound of heartbeat, it's incredible to be able to affect so many people. The drum of liberation. This is the sound of the drum of liberation. But at this time, as if thinking of something, Beckman showed a surprised expression and said, awakened, the true power of the fruit of everyone, phantom beast species, and Nika form is already awakening. What? The sound of the drum of liberation, Joey Boy, is the legendary Joey Boy going to appear? It is said that Joey Boy can make people smile wherever he goes. If Luffy really awakens Joey Boy's power, he may be able to turn the tide. Rumble. Beckman's words were like a fuse, causing Rocks, Roger, Whitebeard, Golden Lion Shiki, Zephyr and others to come to their senses and let out a series of extremely shocked exclamations. That's right, as the top combat power of the sea at the beginning. They also know some legends about the legendary Joey Boy, but, when the legend did come true, they were still frightened. After all, this is already a mythical Joey Boy, a legendary character. Advertisement, finally awakened. Garp breathed a sigh of relief in his heart, clenched his fists, and showed an expression of great relief. Their great vengeance was expected to be avenged, and Luffy's awakened Joey Boy's ability could definitely defeat the sea ancestors. Are you really awake? Sengoku showed an incredulous expression, opened his mouth, wanted to say something, but showed a bitter expression. After all, he underestimated the Straw Hat Luffy, and at the critical moment, he had to rely on Garp's grandson. World government and Marine were unreliable, and the top boss of the world government, was even more unreliable. Phew. What the shit, Joey Boy, is there, Luo Lei-sama? The more powerful the outbreak, the worse the defeat will be. Blackbeard 830 grinned and said sarcastically. Now the times have changed, even if Joey Boy awakens, he will slap Lord Luo Lei a few times. Hearing these words, Kaido of the Beasts frowned, did not hesitate, and then showed a disdainful expression, and said, the fruit of everyone, phantom beast species, and Nika form awakened Joey Boy, there is no use for any eggs, it will only defeat worse. Charlotte Linlin laughed and said disapprovingly, Joey Boy and Luo Lei are rubbish. So, Luffy can still break out, are you sure it's not looking for abuse? Ember, Quinn, Jack, Katakuri and others did not take the so-called Joey Boy to heart, and they all showed disapproving expressions. Countless people watching the live broadcast in the whole sea are already a little out of control. In fact, seeing Luffy being crushed and abolished, his heart was already desperate, and now it seems that God can't look down on the unscrupulous ancestors of the sea, and specially gave Luffy a chance to turn over the desperate situation. You will find that everyone who is watching the live broadcast has a smile on their faces, and their hearts, which have been numbed by shock, begin to fluctuate, as if someone is constantly dancing freely in their minds. Ha ha ha. At the same time, the red-haired Shocks also breathed a sigh of relief and showed a relieved expression. If someone has the eye of God, everything is only owed to the east wind. Now it's time to watch Joey Boy perform. There is nothing to say. P.S. Kneeling for tips, collections, flowers and reviews, cute new, tears kneeling to beg. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. Because, listening to the heartbeat sound from the live broadcast, they have been affected, all the troubles in their hearts have disappeared. A smile has appeared uncontrollably at the corner of their mouths, and even more so they have made a laughing sound. They have a lot of confidence in the ancestor of the sea, Lord Luo Lei. Joey boy? Is it a hammer? Chapter 143. Joey Bowie shakes the sea. I am going to debut, 2 more kneels for subscription. And with these dances that seem to symbolize freedom come to mind. On the sea, many people who were watching the live broadcast were out of control, and finally couldn't help but let out a loud laugh. So, in such a case, the whole sea is filled with joy and happiness. It seems that the sea is no longer dark, oppressive, decaying, killing, etc. All negative emotions have disappeared. Everything is positive and full of light. Naval Headquarters. This. Is that what Joey Boy is capable of? Staff Officer Suru suppressed his restless heartbeat and muttered. Garp seems to have made the right bet, and at the critical moment, Luffy did it. What a powerful contagion. Momoshage showed a stunned look and said incredulously. It seems that as long as you hear the drum of liberation, you will regain your fighting spirit and strength, which virtually makes all the marine soldiers who already have no fighting spirit cheer up. Maybe there's a chance. Staff Officer Suru and Momoshage laughed knowingly. Momoshage, in particular, finally had a chance to see Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, punished. At the same moment, Egg Tip Island of the future country. Within the laboratory, Vegapunk's 6 doppelgangers, Desire, York, Violence, Atlas, G, Pythagoras, Thought, Edison, Evil, Lilith, and Jung, Shikia, are gathering together to watch the live broadcast. When I see Monkey after D-Dragon was killed in seconds. Vegapunk Shikia, who represents the positive, couldn't help but show a helpless expression. As an old friend of the dragon, he actually talked to the dragon on the phone when the Straw Hat Grand League was just formed, and at that time he warned the dragon that the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, had become a big deal, and he had decided not to side with Luffy. The result? But the dragon scolded him and said that there was no such friend as him. In this regard, Shikia was not angry, but persuaded the dragon to stop Luffy, and it was unnecessary not to confront the ancestors of the sea. But the dragon said what to fight the Tiger Brothers and go into battle with father and son soldiers. Advertisement Luffy is not afraid, he, who is a father, will not be afraid. Now, the dragon was directly crushed to death by the ancestors of the sea, which made Shikia do, as the doppelganger of Vegapunk, still have some discomfort. Wait a minute, degree? This heartbeat seems to be a drum of liberation? Something is wrong. Luffy seems to have awakened the true power of the human fruit, phantom beast race, and Nika form. Sleeping. The legendary sun god Joey Boy is not going to show up, is he? Soon, with the heartbeat sound of the live broadcast, York, Atlas, Pythagoras, Edison, and Lilith seemed to think of something, and they couldn't help but make a surprised sound. Among them, Lilith and Atlas, who have a relationship with Luffy, showed incredible expressions. Apparently did not expect, Luffy, who was in a desperate situation, was able to explode and burst out the terrifying abilities of the legendary Joey Boy. Needless to say, the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, was going to be in trouble. After all, as a doppelganger of Vegapunk, of course, they know how terrifying the legendary character Joey Boy is, who is said to have exerted the power of the sun god to ultimate. It's good now such a big man is going to appear. Come to think of it, there are some scalp-tingling things. Don't be so excited. Hearing these words, Vegapunk Shikia, who represented the righteousness, shook his head disapprovingly, and said in a solemn tone, facing the ancestors of the sea who broke through in front of countless people in the entire sea, Joey Boy is very likely to be completely killed. What? Shikia, you're not kidding, are you? What's more than a joke? Joey Boy shouldn't lose even if he can't win. Upon hearing this sentence, York, Atlas, Pythagoras, Edison, and Lilith suddenly had some dissatisfaction. That's right, advertisement, the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, is very strong. But, now Straw Hat Luffy has just erupted some of Joey Boy's power, which has already affected the entire sea, and if it completely explodes, it will definitely shake the entire sea. Vegapunk Shikia, who represented Jung, showed an indifferent expression and said, if you don't believe it, just keep watching. That sea ancestor is not as simple as we see. When speaking of this, Vegapunk Shikia, who represents Jung, also added meaningfully. After all, with his strength, he can kill Luffy in seconds, but he has delayed for so long. Maybe he wants Luffy to burst out Joey Boy's power, and then destroy it with a devastating blow. York, Atlas, Pythagoras, Edison, and Lilith heard this, opened their mouths, and immediately did not speak, and could only fall on the live broadcast screen. Holy Land Mariejois, the sound of the drum of liberation has appeared. I am disappeared on the void throne, how many years? Joey Boy, you can't help but show up after all. How many years have you been waiting? Luffy didn't disappoint her. P.S. Kneeling for tips, collections, and reviews, cute new, tearful kneeling and begging. Kneel down to beg the reader boss, kneel to beg the reader boss. I am looked at the live broadcast picture, rarely showed an excited expression, already had some impatient heart, and suddenly surged madly. I'm ready to make a move, the ancestors of the sea, Luo Lei, Joey boy, this time I'm going to wipe you out. Between the deepest flowers of Pengu City, there is nothing to say, even Joey boy, who has been dead for more than 800 years, has appeared, then she will also appear and shock the entire Tianhai. Finally waited for Joey boy's appearance, everything about you is mine. Accompanied by a wave of spatial fluctuation skin. Well, very good, as long as you appear, then I can appear and show my true strength. Under the crushing and stimulation of the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, Joey boy's abilities are awakened at the last minute. Now it seems that in fact, after learning that Luffy of the D family is the good ability of rubber fruit, she secretly put Vice Admiral Luffy on the focus list, just to see if Luffy can make Joey boy's reincarnated energy appear. Chapter 144 Joey boy, times have changed with Ain's departure. Holy Land Mariejois seems to have lost the shelter of some mysterious force. Many officials of celestial dragons and world government, who had not been affected by the drums of liberation, suddenly felt that something was wrong, because the sound of Luffy's heartbeat from the live broadcast screen was like some kind of life-threatening charm, making their hearts beat faster, their hearts restless, and their faces became extremely ugly. Among them the world aristocracy, celestial dragons. It was even more unbearable, and some of the evil things they had done constantly appeared in their minds, and the invisible pressure made them all tremble and kneel on the ground. What's going on? Could it be that our patron saint, Lord I Am, has left the Holy Land Mariejois? Damn. The voice of the legendary Drum of Liberation has appeared again, and Lord I Am must have gone to solve the Straw Hat Luffy and the ancestors of the sea went, we're putting up with it. Lord I Am came out of the mountain, there's a good show to watch. Soon the celestial dragons of the Holy Land reacted. The face was frightened and suppressed the mental and physical discomfort, and let out an incredulous roar, 077. What's the situation? Lord I Am, who has not left Mariejois for more than 800 years, actually left the Holy Land. Is this the rhythm of Armageddon? You know, all along, no matter what era, Lord I Am has been sitting firmly on the Diaoyudai platform, and now that he strikes, it means that a new blank 100 years of history will appear again. Whether it's Luffy the Straw Hat or Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, they all have to die. Meanwhile on top of that giant ring in Wanokuni. As Luffy's heartbeat intensified, the breath on his body soared rapidly, and finally, before Luffy could react, he was pulled into a very illusory spiritual space by Nika's power. Lost. I lost. The loss was very thorough. At this time, Luffy, who had lost his right arm, did not care where he was, and collapsed on the ground very slumped, his eyes were godless for a while. This time, carrying the hopes of the whole village, he lost very thoroughly all dignity, face, honor, self-confidence. All were defeated by the sea ancestor, Luo, AJDC, Thunder with the force of destruction and decay, disappointing countless people who supported him. Advertisement you don't have to think about it to know that he must have become the joke of the whole sea now. When I think of this, Luffy couldn't help but show a trace of bitterness and despair. Eventually the clown is still himself, whereas, because of his self-confidence and arrogance, he also indirectly harmed those friends and partners who supported him. He is a sinner, a trash, a self-righteous, self-defeating B***************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** me, Luo Lei, there is no miracle. Alas! Have you thrown in the towel? But at this time. An incomparable sigh sounded, followed by, under Luffy's incredulous gaze, a person who was almost identical to his fifth awakening state appeared in the space. You. Who are you? The sudden sound suddenly scared Luffy, especially after seeing that the person in front of him was almost exactly the same as Thanaka's form. Luffy's heart instantly became messy. I'm actually already dead. Hearing these words, the figure revealed a meaningful expression and said, I died 800 years ago, and I can appear here now because I have been completely awakened by you. What? Luffy frowned, as if she had thought of something, her eyes widened, and she made an incredulous voice. You have been completely awakened by me, can it be that? Could it be that you are the sun god Nika? Pretty much. Joey Boy suspended in the spiritual space and said with some emotion, at the beginning, after I died, the spirit and soul did not disappear, but somehow merged into the devil fruit in the form of the fruit of everyone, phantom beast species, and Nika. To put it simply, I became the devil fruit spirit in the form of human fruit, phantom beast, and Nika. When it comes to this, Joey Boy couldn't help but show an embarrassed expression. Advertisement. After learning that he was not dead, he began to make secret arrangements, but he did not expect to be defeated by a sea ancestor. Ob. You are the spirit of devil fruit in the form of human fruit, phantom beast species, and Nika? Wait a minute, you're the Joey Potent who makes people smile wherever you go. Luffy was stunned at first, and then couldn't help but exclaim. All right. The world government did not dominate the world, but came out of nowhere a sea ancestor who had died for more than 40 years. Luo Lei, with his own strength, punch Marine, kick the pirates, quite a kind of invincible, completely become the taste of everyone's ancestors. The voice has not fallen. Luffy couldn't help but show a surprised expression, and then as if thinking of something, he lowered his head and revealed a sad look. Like a fake bag change. Now that Luffy has encountered a death crisis, he also has to show up. P.S. Kneeling for tips, collections, flowers and reviews, cute new, tears and kneeling. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. After a battle with Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea. In the face of the invincible ancestor of the sea, even if this Joey boy in front of him is awakened, what is the effect? Even if it is an outbreak, it is not self-inflicted humiliation, crushed. But I didn't expect it, Joey boy chuckled and said. The layout of more than 800 years is afraid that it will not be ruined in one fell swoop. Now the times of the sea have changed. Luffy had experienced the suffocating and powerless feeling firsthand, and didn't think Joey boy would help him when he woke up. In fact, when Luffy defeated Kaido of the beasts, he had already awakened, and originally wanted to develop obscenely, secretly observe the situation of the sea, and wait for an opportunity. The whole person is in a state of confusion. In fact, when he defeated Kaido of the beasts, he knew that rubber fruit was not as simple as he imagined, and turned on the fifth gear, allowing him to defeat Kaido of the beasts. Even a person who has been dead for an unknown number of years has been awakened by him. Otherwise, really? Chapter 145 With the blessing of Joey Bowie, the sixth gear Luffy is about to break out. 2 more kneels for subscription. Why, you are not happy to learn that I have awakened. Looking at Luffy's expression, Joey boy shook his head lightly and said lightly. There is no big deal about a momentary failure, the most important thing is to have the self-confidence of indomitability and repeated defeats. It's useless. Luffy showed a bitter expression and said with great resignation. In the face of absolute power, even if I am full of confidence, it has no effect. When it comes to this, Luffy also added with a bitter smile. The sea ancestor is really too strong, even if I have full firepower, I can't beat him. Okay. Joey boy took a deep look at Luffy and said meaningfully. If you even give up, then those friends and friends of yours may die a terrible death, Garp. Dragons, redheads Shanks, Rayleigh, Sabo and others can't take revenge. Don't say it, please don't say it. I don't want that either, and I don't want to, but there's really no way around it. Not to mention it, as soon as he said that Luffy, who already had some collapse in his heart, roared a few times in anger, and then clutched his head in pain. He admitted that he was scared, a little desperate in his heart, wanted to escape reality, did not want to face those disappointed eyes again, and did not want to face the invincible ancestor of the sea Luo Lei anymore. Now it's broken by Joey boy, under his incompetent rage, he can't wait to dig a hole into the ground. I lost more than 800 years ago, but even now I haven't given up, so why don't you give it a try? Looking at the somewhat crazy Luffy, Joey boy thought for a moment before saying in a heavy tone. More than 800 years ago, I was actually like you, positive and optimistic, clear in love and hate, unyielding, attached great importance to partners and friends, and super interested in anything related to adventure. And yet, after the formation of world government, everything changed, so. 5 minutes later, Joey boy explained his experience in general. World government, celestial dragons, ancient weapon, devil fruit tree, so that's it? Advertisement. After reacting, Luffy's eyes widened, and he couldn't help but show an expression of admiration. So, after you awaken, you will launch a counterattack against the world government? Want to defeat your former friend, I am, and take back everything you once lost? Joey boy nodded at Luffy and said, many things, like fetters of fate, have been predetermined, so even if I die, I will not be discouraged and give up, let alone want to bow down to fate. Luffy's expression changed for a moment, and he said subconsciously, that is to say, not only the ancestors of the sea, but even I am is also my opponent? That's right. Joey boy smiled and said, with Im's personality, after the sound of the drums of liberation appeared, she should also be eager to do it, after all, I have what she wants. Luffy suddenly fell into a very speechless silence. He can't deal with a sea ancestor, Luo Lei, and now there is another final boss of the world government, I am. He is afraid that he will die a terrible death. Don't worry, I am should deal with the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, before dealing with us. Joey boy smiled and said, and my awakening power is not weak, so you still have a great chance. Is there a chance? A painful expression flashed in Luffy's eyes. If given a choice, who wants to be inept and rage, escapism? Now that he has been defeated, it is better to break the jar and break it, and then fight back. After all, this Joey boy has been defeated for more than 800 years, and he still looks full of confidence, and he did not choose to give up, so what qualification does he have to say give up? Yes. After a few seconds, Luffy's cheeks flashed with a determined expression, and he said crisply, Joey boy, anyway, I have no chips, since you want to bet, then I will bet with you. Good. Choose wisely. Joey boy showed a very satisfied expression and said, next, I will completely activate the true power of the human fruit, phantom beast race, and Nika form, and let you enter the realm of the sixth super awakening, hoping to help you. 0. Asking for flowers, no problem. Luffy nodded heavily. So far, he still doesn't believe it, and he really doesn't have a chance. As long as there is advertisement, then there is still hope. It just so happens that you can also try how strong the strength of the sixth gear is. By the way, I am should be coming. Suddenly, Joey boy seemed to sense something and said, you can also completely burst out the true power of the human fruit, phantom beast race, and Nika form. Coming? Luffy gritted his teeth and said, then I'm going to explode and let the whole sea know that Joey boy, who has been dead for more than 800 years, has appeared. I haven't lost yet. Point zero on the other side, what happens in Luffy's spiritual world, of course, everyone does not know. I only know that the breath on Luffy's body is constantly increasing, and the sound of the drum of liberation is getting louder and louder, making many people at the scene can't help but show shocked smiles. That's right, this smile was under the influence of the drum of liberation, and I couldn't help but send it out. Isn't it a big illusion? And listening to Luffy's burst of drums of liberation, Luo Lei shook his head a little bored. He thought, what was the so-called most nonsense power, not through sound? Does the subconscious influence others? Wherever you go, it can make people smile, and it also symbolizes freedom and joy. Now it seems that this is no more than that. Compared with the infinite Tsukuyomi of the Hokage world, it is really too far away. People who fall for infinite Tsukuyomi will enter the dream realm and their wishes will be fulfilled, and as for the sound of this drum of liberation, it simply affects others, making people forget their troubles for a short time and smile. The invisible realms are all several levels apart. Luffy, if you're like that, it's really disappointing me. The next moment, the corners of Luo Lei's mouth were slightly upturned, and he said lightly, the legendary Joey Boy is really nothing more than that. Chapter 146. You and I am are trash with Luo Lei's voice. The scene was quiet except for Luffy's increasingly rapid heartbeat. Humph. Seeing that Luffy still had no reaction, Luo Lei snorted coldly, and was too lazy to talk nonsense, and the terrifying aura mixed with violent spiritual power swept out at a lightning speed, heading towards Luffy's suppression. Isn't it the sound of a drum of liberation? Isn't it the awakening of Joey Boy, who has been dead for more than 800 years? What's the big deal? Pretend is still addictive. Poof, the next moment. Accompanied by a crisp sound, as if something had broken, the sound of the drum of liberation disappeared directly. Airplanes. Suddenly many people who were still immersed in the sound of the drum of liberation suddenly said, 7 and 7, and their faces came back to their senses unnaturally, and even rubbed their stiff cheeks that were laughing. It's good that the weak are weak. I didn't know what was going on at all. I just felt like I had a sweet dream that was in a good mood. Ken. The faces of those with a little bit of strength are unpredictable, among which Zoro, Sanji, Uda, Robin, Kid, Luo and others are of course excited, thinking that Luffy has been abolished. They are all ready to attack together, fight against the water, and save Luffy. But did not expect that at the critical moment, Luffy finally exploded again, and could affect countless people through the sound of heartbeat. You don't have to think about it. Just like when he defeated Kaido of the beasts and awakened the fruit of everyone, phantom beast species, and Nika form, his strength will definitely have another transformation. Is Joey Boy really awake? Sakazuki took a deep breath, his eyes were sure, and muttered, Lord I am, if you don't show up again, I can't hold on. Has it stopped? Worthy of the legendary Joey Boy? This time Luffy should enter a state of ultimate awakening, but I don't know if I can defeat the sea ancestors. Advertisement, there are definitely opportunities, but it doesn't feel big. Rox, Roger, Whitebeard, Shiki, Zephyr and others couldn't help but feel a word after slowing down, and they also knew very well that this may be Luffy's last hole card. If they still lose, in the absence of I am, it is the big picture. The ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei will have the last laugh. Desperate situations can be transformed. Sengoku couldn't help but show a look of anticipation and said, Garp, this grandson of yours is really powerful, and he can be called a child of destiny. Let's hope to win. Garp nodded, took a deep breath, and stared straight into the center of the ring. Although the sound of the drum of liberation has stopped, the aura on Luffy's body is constantly skyrocketing and increasing, which means that they have not lost yet, and they still have a chance. You're going to win. Hearing this, the red-haired Shox said expectantly, is that the legendary Joey Boy? A heel of freedom that brings smiles to people's faces wherever they go. Looks like Luffy is still unwilling. Even if Joey Boy appears, he will only be crushed by Lord Luo Lei. Pretending to be a ghost, Joey Boy, now that you've awakened, don't waste Lord Luo Lei's time. Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Blackbeard, Ember, Quinn, and others, as well as those who stood in line with the ancestors of the sea, did not have any expressions of worry and fear. In their opinion, no matter how Luffy awakens and explodes, even if Joey Boy, who has been dead for more than 800 years, is of no use for eggs, and will only be crushed by Lord Luo Lei with the force of destruction and decay. So, after the sound of the drum of liberation disappeared. In addition to the people in the ring, even the countless people watching the live broadcast on the sea all looked at the monkey D. Luffy. Why, don't you dare to show your face yet? At this time, Luo Lei stretched his waist and said lightly, if I don't show up, I'm going to move the real thing. Alas. I really didn't expect that such an unscrupulous figure as you would appear in the sea today. If you didn't have the breath of devil fruit on you, I would have thought that you were fusing some devil fruit trunks to cultivate wood style to such a terrifying realm. But, I can't see through the state you are in now. Zero. Advertisement. The voice has not fallen, with a sigh of slightly tiredness and amazement. In front of everyone's eyes, Luffy, who had lost his right arm, slowly got up from the ground, and his cheeks showed a wisp of age-inappropriate vicissitudes and helplessness. Sun God Joey Boy. Looking at Luffy who stood up, many people couldn't help but have a name in their minds. No way, it's really where Luffy is right now. As long as the eyes are not blind, they can see that the light is a different person. Huh. Looking at the Luffy in front of him, the corners of Luo Lei's mouth were slightly upturned, and said, "You finally appeared." Joey Boy nodded and said with emotion, "Times have really changed, and there is actually such a variable as you. 012211509233241031. Variables? Luo Lei showed a disdainful expression and said sarcastically, "You and I aren't you variable?" One by one, they all hide behind the scenes, secretly arrange, and think they have everything under control. Treat everyone as pawns, but you don't know that you yourself are actually not good. When he said this, Luo also added, "In fact, you are just too self-righteous rubbish." What do you say? Joey Borung paused, his unfazed heart suddenly became unhappy, and his face became even more gloomy. 0.3. As a figure of more than 800 years ago, an old-timer, he has awakened now, and he thought that Luo Lei would respect him to some extent, but now it seems that he thinks too much, and Luo Lei seems to have never looked at him. "I said you guys are trash." Luo Lei's eyes flashed a ray of crimson, and he said fiercely, "Without the strength to hide behind the scenes as a chess player, you and I are both iron waste. This time, I set off such a big movement, and also carried out a live broadcast of the whole sea, just to manipulate you all at once to eliminate future troubles. From now on, the sea will completely enter the era of the ancestors of the sea." Chapter 147. Silly Joey Boy. Appears. From now on, the sea will completely enter the era of the ancestors of the sea. After this sentence, the whole sea is silent. Many people's cheeks were filled with incredible expressions, as if they did not expect that the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, would be so unscrupulous. Even if Joey Boy, who had been dead for more than 800 years, awakened, he did not give him any face. Is this a rhythm that doesn't put Joey Boy in his eyes at all? Among them, Zoro, Sanji, Uda, Luo and others, who originally had confidence in Luffy, also froze instantly. How could the development of things be different from what they imagined? In the face of the awakened Joey Boy, the ancestors of the sea seem to be more excited and violent, and there is something wrong no matter how you look at it. "Ha ha ha, you said that I are waste?" Suddenly. At this time, Joey Boy seemed to have thought of something, and couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Luo Lei, you are still too young. If you knew what happened more than 800 years ago, you wouldn't feel like this." Speaking of which, Joey Boy paused for a moment before he said in astonishment, "Do you need me to tell you what happened more than 800 years ago? There's a lot of secrets at stake, and where devil fruit comes from? What? Is the history of 100 years blank about to be spoken? What happened more than 800 years ago? Is it necessary to be made public by Joey Boy? Is even the source of devil fruit going to be announced?" Listening to this sentence, Luo Lei hasn't reacted yet. The people in the ring and the countless people watching the live broadcast couldn't help but show an incredulous look, because no one thought that at this moment full of gunpowder, Joey Boy would say something like that. Is this to announce the rhythm of a blank 100 years of history in full view? At the beginning, the history of the blank year caused by the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, had already shaken the entire sea, and now there is an even more shocking one. Isn't the sea going to explode? Do you want to publish a blank 100 years of history? Among them, Robin of the Straw Hat Pirates couldn't help but show a look of expectation. As an archaeologist, there is nothing more worth looking forward to than knowing the history of the blank 100 years. Is Luffy possessed by Joey Boy now? Advertisement? Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, Chopper, Ro, Uda, and others did not focus on a blank 100 years of history, but frowned, because they were a little confused about Luffy's current state. Is Luffy Joey Boy, or is Joey Boy possessed Luffy? It looks like the real history of 100 years ago will be released. Yes, Joey Boy should know the full blank of 100 years of history? I just don't know how much difference it is from what we know. Rox, Whitebeard, Shiki, Zephyr and others also involuntarily showed expressions of expectation. Only Roger's expression changed a few times, and finally showed a lonely expression. In fact, the legendary big secret treasure, One Piece, is related to the history of 100 years of blankness. Now that Joey Boy has announced, it means that the most valuable thing of the legendary great treasure, One Piece, is gone, and the era of the sea thief has become a complete joke. Among them, Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Ember and other people who know Luo Lei's character did not show any expectation, but showed sarcasm and sneers. This Joey Boy is really a wishful calculation, wanting to use a blank 100 years of history to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. A pity? Joey Boy still doesn't understand the character of Lord Luo Lei. Not to mention the history of 100 years blank, that is, the ancient history of thousands of years ago, Lord Luo Lei will not be interested. And at this time, see everyone's reaction, Joey Boy nodded with satisfaction. What he wants is the effect of shaking the sea, 100 years of history, a fatal attraction for anyone, some secrets of the sea, the secrets of the world government, the tree of devil fruit, etc. Anyone will be interested. What's more, he was sure that no one except him and knew the complete blank of 100 years of history. What bullshit blank 100 years of history? I don't want to know at all. But at this time, Luo Lei glanced at Joey Boy with idiotic eyes, and said lightly, "You, the biggest loser of the era, are you kind enough to say a blank 100 years of history in front of the entire sea? Don't dislike shame either. Could it be that more than 800 years have passed, and you no longer have a face?" Quiet. Listen to Luo Lei's words. The faces of many people who were already looking forward to hearing the blank 100 years of history froze. Advertisement at critical moments. The ancestors of the sea are actually not interested in a blank 100 years of history? Is there a mistake? Even when Joey Boy heard this, the look on his cheeks became extremely shocked, and his eyes looking at Luo Lei were full of incredible expressions. What's the situation? Isn't this ancestor of the sea not interested in a blank 100 years of history? Is he still not a normal person? You know, that's a lot of secrets related to Mission, ancient weapon, devil fruit tree, etc. It's not interesting. Luo Lei shook his head disapprovingly and said, Joey Boy, you really can't do that. But so, after the initial stunning, Joey Boy laughed angrily, his expression changed, and said in a deep voice, Luo Lei, do you really think that you are invincible in the world? That's right, I just think I'm invincible. 530. Hearing these words, Luo Lei showed an extremely violent look, and said without any concern, Joey Boy, you heard me clearly, you. It's a loser, now awakened, nothing works, Laozi has the strength, do whatever you want, what can you do? Kr. Joey Boy was so angry that he opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but unable to say anything. Although he had long known the style of the ancestors of the sea, when I really faced it, I was still angry at Luo Lei's wanton behavior and arrogance. Nemas, if you have the strength, you can do whatever you want, it is simply unreasonable. How could the sea more than 800 years later have such a bottomless guy? It's all arrived, how long will you hide? The next moment, Luo Lei's eyes moved, and he said coldly, don't you come out to meet your old friend and catch up with the old days? Sure enough, you perceived it. Ha ha ha, Joey Boy, after more than 800 years, you still haven't changed at all? Laugh at. A spatial fluctuation is generated. I saw a figure with a circle of ripples outside the red pupil, wearing a crown with 4 towering spikes, and wearing a black cloak appeared above the ring. Chapter 148. Why don't you go together? One more kneeling and begging to subscribe. Airplanes. After I am appeared, a breath that seemed to make heaven and earth surrender permeated at a lightning speed, perhaps too powerful, causing cracks in the air. Followed by before many people react, this breath continued to spread, first covering the ring, and then spreading to New World. Quiet. In a flash time and space have fallen into silence. Bang. 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 The next moment, with the sound of falling to the ground one after another. I saw that many civilians in New World and some weaker people had not yet reacted, and their bodies froze in place, and then their minds buzzed, and they lost consciousness. One after another, they fell to the ground. And above the ring, almost everyone was affected by Im's powerful aura. Faced with this majestic breath, many people involuntarily had a feeling of trembling, and unconsciously a wisp of cold sweat appeared on their foreheads, and some of them stumbled slightly in shock. Is this Conqueror's Haki? Im's Conqueror's Haki feels comparable to the sea ancestor's Conqueror's Haki. This is also too strong, too overbearing. A few seconds later, Zoro, Sanji, Uda, Beckman, Kid, Robin, Luo and others looked at the final boss of the world government, who suddenly appeared in midair, carefully wiped the cold sweat on his forehead, and made a terrifying sound in no particular order. Nemas, is there any mistake? They were still pity for not hearing a blank 100 years of history. Well, now that the blank history of 100 years has not been heard, the final boss of the world government, has appeared on the battlefield. This is the rhythm of the final showdown? Ha 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 ha, Lord is here. Sakazuki laughed loudly and clenched his magmized fist excitedly. Advertisement. After waiting for so long, he finally waited for Lord and next, he will personally teach those traitors a lesson and let them know that Marine and the world government are not for them to come and leave whenever they want. Meanwhile, worthy of being a person who has lived for more than 800 years, this Conqueror's Haki has reached another level. Yes, it's really terrifying. Not even the red-haired Shanks Haki can compare to Rox, Roger, Whitebeard, Shiki, Zephyr and others sensed Im's powerful Conqueror's Haki, and they all involuntarily showed expressions of amazement. As the powerhouses who once shook the sea, they certainly knew that could burst out such a terrifying Conqueror's Haki at will, which meant that the real strength was absolutely terrifying. Coupled with the awakened Joey Boy and the ancestor of the sea, Luo Shao, it means that the 3 strongest people of the sea have all gathered together. You don't have to think about it. The battle that will truly determine the course of history is about to begin. Coming. Garp, Sengoku, Redhead Shocks also showed a solemn light. There is nothing to say. The final battle for the future of the sea is about to break out, and Luffy's real test is about to begin. Is finally here. The battle at the pinnacle of the sea is about to begin. Joey Boy, Luo Shao, the 3 powers of the hegemony, hope that the ancestors of the sea can win. Kuzan, Kizaru, Green Bull, Fujitora, and other people who chose to stand in line with the ancestors of the sea also showed solemn expressions, and they also knew very well that since they chose to stand in line with the ancestors of the sea, there was no way back. If Luo Lei had the last laugh, everyone would be happy, but if they lose, then they will most likely be liquidated. Did show up too? On the other side, Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Ember, Quinn and others also paused, and immediately ignored the tsunami like aura coercion, revealing an excited expression. I really come whatever I want. Joey Boy has awakened, and the final boss of the world government, I Am, has also appeared, which is the rhythm of Luo Lei Sama killing two birds with one stone. Needless to say, it's definitely a double happiness. As for the countless people watching the live broadcast in the sea, except for those who were stunned in New World, almost all of them showed expressions of shock to ultimate, and even collapsed on the ground in fear. I Am, the final boss of the world government, I Am has appeared. Advertisement. Is this the rhythm that is going to destroy the world? Do you know that the world government can rule the sea for more than 800 years? This god like I Am is indispensable. Now, Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, forced I Am out, plus a Joey Boy. Don't have to think about a battle that affects the entire sea is going to explode. Of course at such a moment, the entire sea, only the awakened Joey Boy and the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, were not affected in any way. Backquote, I Am, is that interesting? Joey Boy sensed the shocked crowd and said, more than 800 years have passed, and you haven't changed at all? Aren't you the same? I Am, who was suspended in midair and opposite Luo Lei, said expressionlessly. You have finally awakened and appeared, and the grievances of more than 800 years ago should draw a perfect end. P.S. Kneeling for tips, collections, flowers and reviews, cute new, tears kneeling to beg. Kneel down to beg the reader boss, kneel down to beg the reader boss. After the resurrection, Luo Lei is more and more perverted and terrifying, leaving her with little confidence to win. Joey Boy appeared. Is it one by one, or on together? 012211509233241351. Hearing the sarcasm in Joey Boy's tone, I Am snorted coldly and said, I have already strangled him once more than 40 years ago, and this time should still be okay. At the time of Luo Lei's resurrection, you two trash. That's right, then she can only choose to give it a go and take the initiative to appear. I Am didn't really take Luo Lei to heart. After all, if he could kill him once more than 40 years ago, he would definitely be able to kill a second time after his resurrection. I Am also paused, gritted his teeth, and said with a little regret, if it weren't for waiting for you to appear, I would have strangled him when he was alive again. Huh. Ha ha ha. It seems that you also miscalculated. Hearing this, Joey Boy laughed loudly, and when he wanted to say something, he was simply broken by Luo Lei's lung. Speaking of which, right now, but I didn't expect it. Joey Boy showed a disapproving expression, pointed at Luo Lei, and said without any concern, with this sea ancestor here, are you sure you can draw a sentence? HMPH. Chapter 149 Angry I Am. You two trash. Is it one by one, or on together? After saying this, Luo Lei paused and added, forget it, in order not to waste everyone's time, you two old guys more than 800 years ago should go together. Just to solve you together. Quiet. I am most afraid that the air will suddenly be quiet. After this sentence, many people in the ring and countless people watching the live broadcast on the sea all froze, as if they did not think that the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, would actually say such a sentence, as if he did not put Joey Boy and I Am in his eyes at all. There's something scary about that. After all, whether it is Joey Boy, who has been dead for more than 800 years, or I Am, who has lived for more than 800 years, it is not a fuel-saving lamp. The result is good. As soon as Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, opened his mouth and let Joey Boy and I Am go together. This is all about contempt and looking down on Joey Boy and I Am. I'm afraid it's not something that individuals can't endure, right? The fact is that after listening to these words, Joey Boy and I Am, who were still there to talk about the old days, suddenly became gloomy, and their hearts were angry to ultimate. Nemas, this ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, Tetamos 573 is unscrupulous and unobtrusive. In front of so many people, it is unbearable not to give them face one after another. Damn it. The next moment, I Am couldn't help but snort angrily, and took the lead in coldly drinking. Luo Lei, you are really too arrogant. Almost without any warning, a suffocating momentum gathered together and went towards Luo Lei's suppression. The powerful oppressive force caused the entire ring to tremble, as if there was a danger of overturning at any time. This advertisement seeing this scene, feeling the imposing pressure that makes the air extremely heavy. Countless people at the scene couldn't help but widen their eyes, as if they didn't expect that I Am would be amazing as soon as he didn't move, and the momentum alone made Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, become a flatboat in the sea, as if it would capsize at any time. But in the face of I Am's imposing coercion, Luo Lei's expression did not change, nor did he mean to fight back, but instead looked directly at I Am, whose whole body was wrapped in a black robe, showing a very curious expression. See-through eyes. Laugh at. The next moment, a glint flashed in Luo Lei's eyes, followed by Imna's body and face, wrapped in a black robe and wisps of invisible energy, suddenly disappeared. That's right, after his resurrection, Luo Lei decided to teach I Am a good lesson. Now look at it with perspective eyes in advance, just to avoid stepping on the pit. After all, this guy I Am has lived for more than 800 years or even longer. In case it is an old monster that is defeated by gold and jade, then it is better to kill. He really can't rush down the crescent moon sky. Yes, is it so young? After a few seconds, a look of surprise flashed across Luo Lei's flat cheeks. What's the situation? I Am, this guy is much younger and more beautiful than expected. The vitality of his body is extremely vigorous. If it weren't for the fact that the pirate world did not have the concept of sage body, he would have thought that I Am had sage body. But Rao was so, and it also startled Luo Lei a lot, because, in a sense, Im's beauty is not inferior to Rixing and Hancock. As for the figure, it's okay. Anyway, Luo Lei is quite cool to watch. Could it be that you ate some special devil fruit? It won't be the fruit of life, will it? Wait a minute, there seems to be more than one devil fruit energy inside her body, and there seems to be some wood attributes. Advertisement, too. Isn't that weird? AJFB, Luo Lei used his clairvoyant eyes to look at Im's whole body, inside and out, and couldn't help but show a puzzled expression, but the energy in this Im's body was too complicated. Give Luo Lei the illusion that Im is not alone. If he doesn't care about him, if it's not alone, the crescent moon Tianchong should be more exciting. Since he couldn't figure it out, Luo Lei shook his head, too lazy to think about it anymore. Anyway, whatever Im is, will only be crushed and crushed by him. You. What are you doing? At this time, Im, who was originally bursting into momentum, seemed to sense something, and an incredible expression appeared on the pre-face under the mask, and he roared angrily. Luo Lei. You? Are you a man or not? Is there a little bit of a strong person's limit? Lose your marbles. Im feels like he's really going crazy. She burst out of momentum, wanting to give the ancestor of the sea a dismount, but she did not expect Luo Lei to actually do the opposite. Just now, she actually felt that her whole body was seen through, and then looking at the strange light flashing in Luo Lei's eyes, Im immediately understood that this Luo Lei's eyes must be able to see through her specially customized black robe, as well as the energy shield on her body. Thinking about it is terrifying. Im immediately felt that he was at a loss. Her first appearance in 800 years was seen through by the sea, the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, which is simply a great shame. She still overestimated the bottom limit of the ancestors of the sea, and she did not expect that the ancestors of the sea actually had clairvoyant eyes. What? Seeing this scene, Joey Boy frowned, as if he also sensed something. Just as Luo Lei looked at him again, frightened Joey Boy hurriedly took a few steps back, staring at Luo Lei in shock. No. This Luo Lei won't look at him too, will it? This sea ancestor is also too pervert. In this regard, Luo Lei directly showed a very speechless expression. Nima's, he didn't look at men's proclivities, this Joey Boy was purely overthinking. As for the countless people at the scene and those watching the live broadcast on the sea, they were collectively confused, and they all showed doubtful expressions. They didn't know what happened. They heard Im shout, and even Joey Boy was taken a few steps back under Luo Lei's eyes. Chapter 150 Rubber Fruit is a bug. I'm not mistaken. One look makes Im scream, makes Joey Boy back off. It's terrible, isn't it? How terrible. The ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, is really terrifying. A few seconds later, accompanied by a surprised uproar, many people in the ring and countless people watching the live broadcast in the sea couldn't help but show shocked expressions after rubbing their eyes. No way, no one thought, before the decisive battle began. Im and Joey Boy were fiercely suppressed by the eyes of the ancestors of the sea. Damn it. Hearing everyone's screams, Yim's heart cracked, his silver teeth clenched. There were words of suffering, and he could only scold incomparably angrily. Luo Lei, you are looking for death. Nima's, for more than 800 years, for the first time, she suffered a suffocating loss and did not dare to return her mouth, let alone make a loud noise. After all, she also doesn't want to let herself be taken advantage of by the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, spread throughout the sea, so if she can endure it, if she can't bear it, she has to continue to endure and let Luo Lei eat her tofu. On the other side, Joey Boy thought similarly. The sinister and hateful old sixth of the ancestor of the sea actually has clairvoyant eyes, and there is no misuse of any bottom limit, which can be said to have caught Joey Boy by surprise. Wait a minute. Suddenly Joey Boy seemed to have thought of something, looked at his body, and suddenly showed a puzzled expression. What is he worried about? The current body is Luffy's, even if it is seen, there is nothing, right? Look casually, on the contrary, he will not suffer. Advertisement. Thinking of this, Joey Boy took a few steps forward with his head held high, and glanced at Luo Lei with a somewhat provocative taste. The meaning was very simple, you can look at it casually, I will back off and count me as losing. Seeing this scene, Luo Lei showed a speechless expression and said coldly, Joey Boy, you have been dead for more than 800 years, is there a problem in your brain? Is really an idiot. Humph. Hearing these words, Joey Boy snorted coldly and said in a deep voice, Luo Lei, you are really unscrupulous, there is no look like a strong person, you just did. Enough. Before Joey Boy's words were finished, Im forcibly endured the anger in his heart, interrupted his voice angrily, and scolded. Joey Boy, what are you talking nonsense with him? Of course deep down Im was relieved, almost Joey Boy almost told what happened to her. Such a humiliating thing, once exposed, she can imagine the image she spent more than 800 years to create, afraid that it will not be overturned in an instant and become the object of ridicule by countless people. Joey Boy, let's work together first. The next moment, Im took a deep breath, took the initiative to change the topic, and said in a firm tone. Let's solve the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, together, and then solve each other's grievances. What do you think? Cooperation. Joey Boy, who was originally a little unhappy that Im interrupted him, heard this, subconsciously glanced at Im, and showed a slightly surprised expression. She actually wants to work with him? Could it be that the sun came out of the west? However, Luo Lei, Joey Boy, The ancestors of the sea who can do whatever they want are relieved. There are no eternal enemies, no eternal friends, all interests are at fault. The current ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, obviously wants to fight 1 against 2. Does he and I am have any other choice but to put aside the hatred and cooperation of more than 800 years ago? Good. Joey Boy hesitated for a few seconds, then nodded forcefully. Yes. A smile swept across Ein's cheek under his black mask. Thanks to the unscrupulous sea ancestor, her first step plan was easily achieved. As long as the sea ancestor, Luo Lei, was cleaned up first, then Joey Boy was not worried, then she could still have the last laugh and become the ultimate winner. Advertisement, let me recover my arm first. Now that it has been decided to cooperate, 0, asking for flowers. Joey Boy is too lazy to say any nonsense. I am once winner take all, why shouldn't he? Now it's up to who's on top of who's better. Without any warning, Joey Boy's body erupted with terrifying energy fluctuations, and then, under countless incredulous gazes, Luffy's discarded right arm actually grew out again, restored intact. Luo Lei didn't show any surprised expression and didn't want to say anything more. Rubber fruit is really a bug. It's worthy of Joey Boy. After awakening, he directly restored the deposed Luffy full of blood. Otherwise, one of their legs was scrapped by Martial Marine, Sakazuki, and one of their legs was scrapped by the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei. P.S. Kneeling for tips, collections, flowers and reviews, cute new, tears kneeling to beg. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. V. Why did Luffy use rubber fruit to ascend to the 4 emperors? I'm afraid this is not a miracle. Soon, after a few seconds of silence, many people couldn't help but widen their eyes, among which Kizaru and Aokiji's eyes showed an undisguised look of envy. It's okay, there is no obstacle, the arm has recovered? Joey Boy shook his right hand and nodded with great satisfaction. In fact, he is also equivalent to an immortal existence. Even if the arm is abolished, using the characteristics of rubber after awakening, it can grow again, which is very simple and convenient. At rubber fruit, a rubber fruit has many attributes, such as zone fight, paramecia rubber, logia flame, and now a body recovery. It's not a big deal. No, it is in the state of super awakened human fruit, phantom beast race, and Nika. Now seeing Luffy's right arm restored as before, the hearts of the two are full of envy and jealousy. Maybe it's not rubber fruit pervert, but Joey Boy making rubber fruit buggy. The 151st excited Aokiji and Kizaru, Uranus appears. Huh, miracles? Luo Lei shook his head, too lazy to say anything. It's just that the arm is restored. What kind of bullshit miracle? Let's let you see the yin and yang escape technique that makes everything out of nothing and gives life. Swish. The next moment, it's like teleportation. Luo Lei appeared in front of Aokiji and Kizaru, and as soon as he held his right hand, a black energy condensed on Aokiji and Kizaru's broken legs. Followed by under the dazed and confused eyes of Aokiji and Kizaru. Their discarded thighs appeared out of thin air, restored intact. Laugh at, the next second, Luo Lei's body returned to the place where it had just been suspended. Quiet. Maybe it's too short a time, 047. Many people in the ring and countless people watching the live broadcast on the sea have not yet reacted. What's the situation? In the blink of an eye, Aokiji and Kizaru's discarded leg was easily restored. Is this a miracle? Compared with this miracle, Joey Boy's recovery of his right arm is a little pediatric and not worth mentioning. After all, one is to recover for himself, the other is to restore for others, which is not the same at all. My left leg has recovered. After a few seconds, as if there was some disbelief, Aokiji couldn't help but take a few steps, but found that it was almost exactly the same as the original and suddenly showed excited eyes. If given a choice, who would want to be disabled? Originally the battle for the marshal failed, and Akainu abolished his left leg. The meaning of the expression is very simple. Even if it is Admiral, who is also Marine, it is different and does not conspire. Based on this, he was forced to quit Marine Admiral, chose to join the Secret Special Forces, Sword, became a spy pirate, and finally became 4 emperors. Advertisement. It's good now choosing to stand with the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei. The abolition of the left leg directly restored is simply a matter of beauty. Marine? Go eat. It's terrible. Kizaru rarely showed any lewdness, and muttered happily, my legs are okay too? Surprise. That's a big surprise. Originally, he wanted to form a broken leg group with Aokiji, but now that he is well, he has been directly recovered by Lord Luo Lei. Gollum. Can it still be like this? And watching the ancestors of the sea easily restore Aokiji and Kizaru's thighs, many people in the ring couldn't help but swallow their saliva carefully, after reacting. Miracles. This is a real miracle. No doubt the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, did not make a move, and once again shocked the audience. Aokiji and Kizaru should be completely down. Seeing this scene, Sengoku showed a bitter expression, and said bitterly, originally, I expected Aokiji and Kizaru to backstab the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, at a critical moment, but now it seems that it will not work. Yes. Garp also responded helplessly, Green Bull, Dark Horse, Fujitora and others will definitely not have extra thoughts. From now on, Marine should exist in name only. Alas. When Sengoku heard this, he could only sigh heavily. Witnessing Marine's demise, he still has some discomfort and sadness in his heart. It's all over. On the other side, Sakazuki saw Aokiji and Kizaru, who had recovered their thighs, and their expressions were also a little dull, and they all had some doubts about whether I Am could win. Just appeared on the battlefield, he was slapped and suppressed in the face one after another by the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei. I Am and Joey Boy, it seems that they are not as big as they think. At this time, not only Sakazuki, but also Zoro, Uda, Sanji, Robin, Kid and others, as well as Rox, Roger, Whitebeard, Shiki and others, all doubted the abilities of I Am and Joey Boy. There was no imaginary crushing, but the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, occupied the upper spot, which was incredible. What is this ability? Advertisement, got Aokiji and Kizaru's legs were stored out of thin air. However, at this time, the most incredible are I Am and Joey Boy, and after the two glance at each other, they can see the extremely solemn look in their eyes. Zero. Out of nothing, what is this Luo Lei in? Especially Joey Boy, he can restore the discarded arm, relying on the super awakened human fruit, phantom beast species in Nika form. The result is good, people are more angry than people, and the ancestors of the sea do not drag mud and water at all, and simply give him a critical blow. Let him himself be dwarfed a little. Okay, you guys can make a move, right? At this time, the most calm is Luo Lei. For him, after entering the 6 paths ancestor level, he can fully exert the power of yin and yang. So it is easy to create a leg for Aokiji and Kizaru. After all, Uranus. Do it. This is Uranus, one of the 3 ancient weapons. There is nothing more to say. Seeing the true chapter under their hands, both of them believe that as long as they join forces, they will definitely be able to suppress the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei. After all, 800 years ago, the two of them 2.4 suppressed an era and also exploded the devil fruit tree. Began to condense in the sky above the ring, gradually covering this piece of sea. A cold drink sounded. It can't go on like this. 2 breaths of terror permeated the air. After Naruto gains the power of Sage of 6 Paths, he saves Guy's life and creates an eye for Kakashi. Of course, this is not the most important thing, because in the dark clouds, at some point a looming and extremely large black shadow appeared. No doubt countless dark clouds seem to be summoned. He's only showing his hand a little now, in the world of Hokage. In the next moment, hearing these words, and perceiving the suspicious gazes of countless people, I Am and Joey Boy also felt bad, and quickly entered the battle state. Don't worry. Chapter 152. Uranus is in the world, shaking the sea. No doubt this is Uranus, one of the 3 ancient weapons. Airplanes. As Uranus loomed in the dark clouds, the atmosphere of this sea suddenly became solemn, and many people had a look of uncertainty on their cheeks. No way, this is an ancient weapon with the power to destroy the world, one of the 3 ancient weapons that has never appeared? More precisely, I have appeared twice. The first was a sneak attack that killed the ancestor of the sea, Luo Shao, more than 40 years ago, and the second was when I Am shocked the entire sea by using Uranus to destroy a country through the air. Now it's the 3rd time Uranus has made a very official appearance. The invisible deterrent force has made many people's hearts tremble. It seems to have flown from the moon. Luo Lei looked up at the dark clouds that covered this area of the sea, revealing a sudden realization. That's right, after I Am appeared, his super perception cooperated with the top-level observation Haki 09 and began to look for Uranus, thinking that he would start from the Holy Land. Mariejois flew in, but did not expect that it was actually from the moon beyond Earth. And that's why was I Am able to destroy a country in a space. As long as there is an accurate coordinate address, the king can quietly descend from the sky to destroy everything anytime, anywhere. Of course, because the strength has reached the level of 6 paths. So Uranus in the clouds, Uranus, he saw through at a glance that it turned out to be a super spaceship larger than Wanokuni. This also echoes Pluton and Poseidon. One is a super warship, the other is a super spaceship, and there are sea kings that can command countless seas, almost all of which have the power to destroy the world. Ha ha ha, you should see what Uranus is, right? Advertisement. At this time, I Am laughed loudly, glanced at Luo Lei with extremely cold eyes, and said, in that case, let the people of the entire sea see Uranus, one of the 3 ancient weapons. Rumble. The voice has not fallen, a terrifying power roared out of the dark clouds. The powerful shock wave actually smashed all the countless dark clouds that had gathered, revealing Uranus's huge body. Seeing this scene, the expressions of countless people froze. Because in midair, a spaceship appeared that covered the sky. Looking at it, the spacecraft is very huge, a little larger than Wanokuni, like a super spaceship, suspended in midair. Although there is no movement, but it invisibly gave countless people a feeling that their souls were trembling. Uranus's body is actually a super spaceship. Zoro wiped the cold sweat on his forehead and couldn't help but say in shock. With such a large size, it is no wonder that it can have the history of destroying the world. Yes. Sanji suppressed the throbbing in her heart and said, Uranus has appeared, Poseidon is in the ring, I just don't know if Pluton will appear. Pluton is in Wanokuni, ready to appear at any time. Hearing this, Robin took a deep breath, his eyes swept over a wisp of understanding, and said with a surprising voice, I have a hunch that Inboy should be able to control and restore Pluton. What? Doesn't that mean I am, Uranus, Joey Boy and Pluton are going to join forces against the sea ancestors, Luo Lei and Poseidon, Shirahoshi? When I think of this, Luo, Kid, Uta, Usopp and others were involuntarily stunned. This unprecedented Armageddon, even the three ancient weapons have to participate in it, plus I am, Joey Boy, and the ancestors of the sea. This is the rhythm that is going to destroy the heavens and the earth? Uranus appeared, and Lord I Am was finally about to do it. Sakazuki's eyes were irrepressibly excited. He had already decided that as long as Lord I Am won, he would strike with thunder to punish those traitors one by one. Advertisement, sure enough, it's Uranus. It turns out that more than 40 years ago, I Am used Uranus to kill the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei. I Am exposed the whole card. Rocks, Roger, Whitebeard, Shiki, Redhead Shanks, Garp, Sengoku and others showed expressions of sudden realization. At the beginning of the Battle of Kami Island, they also suspected that the huge black shadow in the dark clouds was Uranus, one of the three ancient weapons, and now there is no need to suspect anything. It turned out to be a super spaceship. The real Armageddon is about to begin. As soon as Uranus appeared, the expressions of Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Blackbeard, Aokiji, Kizaru, Green Bull and others also became serious and solemn. Although they have a lot of confidence in the ancestor of the sea, Lord Luo Lei, but, after all, the opponents are I Am, Joey Boy, Uranus, and you have to give them some respect, heavy. 012211509233251401. Meanwhile, Uranus appeared, I Am is real. Is this Uranus, one of the three ancient weapons? The feeling of oppression is really too strong, and it feels like it makes the soul become a little suffocated. 420. Uranus. So this is the legendary Uranus? An uproar resounded everywhere in the sea. Countless people watching the live broadcast on the sea looked at the super spacecraft larger than a meteorite on the live broadcast screen. Their foreheads constantly overflowed with cold sweat, and their cheeks were filled with extremely unbelievable expressions. Uranus, one of the three ancient weapons, appeared. Naval headquarters, the decline of countless marine soldiers was swept away, and they all stood up collectively, looking at Uranus on the live broadcast screen, just like watching God, extremely excited. Even the senior executives who remained in the Marine with the staff officer of the crane in the conference room, Momosagi, etc., showed an expression of great expectation. There is nothing to say. As soon as Lord I Am moved his hands to Uranus, they suddenly gained self-confidence. So, after the advent of Uranus, the situation turned around in an instant, and while many people were shocked, they no longer thought that the ancestor of the sea, Lule, was certain to win. After all, is this the legendary Uranus? Chapter 153 Pluton's Misfire, Stupid Joey Boy. 2 more kneeling and begging to subscribe. After all, is this the legendary Uranus? Once the power that can destroy the world is used, it is really difficult to say whether to win or lose. It is also true that after the appearance of Uranus, a smile finally appeared on Im's black-robed cheeks, who used the Masterless to destroy the ancestor of the sea, KWH, more than 40 years ago. Now she's going to be full of fire. Let the ancestors of the sea know the true power of Uranus. Wait a minute, I still feel a little unsafe. The next moment, as if thinking of something, I Am glanced at Joey Boy and said in a deep voice, "Don't you do it yet? Can Pluton, one of the three ancient weapons, also show up? It has been hidden under the ground of Wanokuni for more than 800 years. Joey Boy nodded with an unchanged expression, and sighed with embarrassment. More than 800 years have passed. The military king, Pluto, should indeed come out from the ground to breathe through the air. After this sentence, before many people could react, Joey Boy's body gushed out a scorching wave of energy, enveloping this sea area at lightning speed. Bang, 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 and this is like a fuse. Wanokuni under the ring trembled violently without warning, making a loud shaking sound. Click, click, click. Under the violent shaking, the ground of Wanokuni began to crack. While, following the countless rifts, you can see a super battleship tens of thousands of meters long and emitting an icy aura gathering energy under Wanokuni, as if it is about to awaken and recover. Pluton revived under Wanokuni. Crouch, Pluton is really awakening. Sure enough, Inboy was able to control Pluton, one of the three legendary ancient weapons. Although because the ring blocked everyone's view, everyone could not see what happened to Wanokuni. Advertisement, but most people's observation hockey almost clearly perceives countless cracks in the ground of Wanokuni. Under that rift, a mighty energy is constantly gathering in a battleship tens of thousands of meters long, and you don't need to think about it to know that after Uranus, Pluton will also appear. Shock. Absolutely shocking. No one thought that Pluton would actually appear, which is what Uranus and Pluton meant to cooperate and attack the ancestors of the sea together. Sure enough, Robin showed a look of anticipation. Pluton was under Wanokuni. She had known for a long time, and had been thinking about how Pluton would activate, but now she didn't have to think about it. Pluton was Joey Boy's weapon, just like Im's Uranus. In other words, on the sea, perhaps only Joey Boy can activate Pluton. Now that Uranus and Pluton are together, even without Poseidon, their chances of winning are much greater. Uranus shows up, and Pluton is going to stink. Hancock clenched his silver teeth and subconsciously asked, "Are Shirahoshi, Uranus, and Pluton powerful?" "It's amazing." Hearing this, Shirahoshi glanced down at Hancock and said playfully, "More than 800 years ago, Uranus and Pluton bombarded each other, and that scene was devastating, and in the end Pluton was defeated, but now they want to join forces, which is really ridiculous to think about." "What?" The voice has not fallen. Hancock, Kazuki Hiyori, Yamato, Ember, Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin and others all looked a little serious. "Of course. Don't worry, Uranus and Pluton are still not enough to see in front of Lord Luo Shao." In the next moment, Shirahoshi's eyes widened, and he turned around and said confidently, "Anyway, I am very confident in Lord Luo Lei." "We are also very confident." Hancock and the others glanced at each other and didn't say anything more. Poseidon, one of the three ancient weapons, said so, "Then there is nothing to worry about, no matter how strong Uranus and Pluton are. I am afraid that they are not the opponents of Lord Luofu." Six Paths Wood-Style Technique, Advertisement. Suddenly at a critical moment in Pluton's awakening, Luo Lei, who had not been moving, gently clapped his hands. Immediately after, a black ball formed by truth-seeking ball passed through the ring and fell on the ground of Wanokuni, turning into a huge wooden dragon with a long hooked nose and thorny body, almost tens of thousands of meters long. Damn it. The moment the wooden dragon appeared, Joey Boy's expression changed abruptly. "Luo Lei, what do you want to do?" "Huh." Luo Lei didn't bother to explain anything. "Doesn't this silly Joey know that Wanokuni is his territory? Once Pluton broke ground, Wanokuni was basically abandoned, so let's stay underground." Bang. In the next moment, the wooden dragon flicked its tail and burrowed into the ground. Wrapped around Pluton's huge body at a very fast speed, he unceremoniously began to absorb the energy on Pluton's body with full fire. Laugh at. With the absorption of the wooden dragon for a while, Pluton, who was awakening and recovering, was like a dumb fire, shaking his body violently, as if he wanted to break free from the entanglement and binding of the wooden dragon, but unfortunately, it faced the Six Paths wooden dragon, and the more it struggled, the tighter it tied, and in less than a few seconds, Pluton was dumbfounded, and suddenly fell into silence again. If anyone was underground, they would have found that countless cracks had begun to appear on Pluton's huge battleship, which was obviously tied up by wooden dragons. Nope. Fire. Sensing Pluton's utter dumbness, Joey Boy couldn't help but exclaim, incredulous. Your wooden dragon is actually able to absorb Pluton's energy." Heartache. Some of the heartache can't breathe. Especially thinking that Pluton has absorbed more than 800 years of energy, but it was easily absorbed by the wooden dragon. And he painstakingly made a wedding dress for Luo Lei, which made Joey Boy almost vomit blood in anger. Chapter 154. Killing Pluton, Uranus attacks. Why? Why? The energy that Pluton has accumulated for more than 800 years has been absorbed like this. How can that wooden dragon be so terrifying and terrifying? Joey Boy, who was angry and wanted to vomit blood, suppressed the anger and unwillingness in his heart, and the whole person fell into a state of madness. He began to lay out more than 800 years ago, and now it's okay, everything is finished. Pluton, who could have made a big deal with Kamui, has become scrap iron after running out of energy, and has almost no use for eggs. Unless someone can infuse Pluton with a lot of energy, but, is this possible? Seeing this scene, I.M. showed a shocked expression, subconsciously glanced at Uranus in midair, and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief in his heart. Fortunately she put Uranus on the moon, otherwise, the consequences are probably the same as Pluton. Nope. The shield must be opened. As if feeling that there was some unsafeness, I.M. did not hesitate, and controlled Uranus to open his natural energy shield in case of accidents. Nope. Impossible, right? Pluton was absorbed by the wood dragon and wasted? Tens of thousands of meters long wooden dragon, I'm afraid it doesn't also have the power to destroy the world. Pluton, one of the three ancient weapons with the power to destroy the heavens and the earth, is that? The ancestor of the sea. Luo Lei just performed a 203 ninjutsu and did it? At this time, except for Joey Boy, countless people in the ring couldn't help but show shocked expressions. Originally everyone was still waiting for Pluton and Uranus to join forces with Kamui. Well, now it's not all finished. Su Xing, it was strangled in the cradle by a wooden dragon, which... There are some blows in particular. Wait a minute. Pluton's connection with me is gradually weakening. No, it's Pluton's consciousness that's disappearing, damn it. Damn, Luo Lei, what the hell are you doing? Suddenly, Joey Boy, who was in a frenzy, seemed to sense something. His eyes flashed with disbelief, and he couldn't help but roar loudly at Luo Lei. What do you say? Hearing these words, Luo Lei smiled lightly and said disapprovingly, since Pluton is so ignorant, it can only kill its consciousness and make it completely a lump. No. Advertisement. Joey Boy shook his head and said excitedly, Pluton without energy has been abolished. Why do you want to kill it all? Huh. I like it, can I? ABC? Luo Lei's eyes flashed with a fierce expression, and he said coldly, now Laozi is going to tell you what is the real ancestor of the sea who can do whatever he wants. Destroy Pluton's consciousness for me. The voice has not fallen. A black Six Paths power emerged from the wooden dragon's body, directly invading Pluton's huge body. Let me go. I surrender to you. Please, don't kill me. It seems to be aware of the crisis. Pluton made a shivering sound, resounding throughout this sea. That's right, as one of the three ancient weapons, it also has its own consciousness, and after sleeping for more than 800 years, it was awakened by Joey Boy, and before it could figure out what was going on, it was entangled by a wooden dragon tens of thousands of meters long and absorbed energy. It's good now not only to absorb its energy, but also to kill its consciousness? Is there any mistake? This made Pluton a little panicked all of a sudden, and he couldn't care about any face, let alone pay attention to Joey Boy, and directly chose to admit defeat and surrender. He really didn't want to die. However, in less than 5 seconds, Pluton's voice of surrender and confession came to an abrupt end, apparently stifled by the power of the 6 paths that had invaded his body. Maybe to death, Pluton didn't even figure out why. At first, after Joey Boy's defeat, it also chose to sleep, silently waiting for Joey Boy to wake it up again. Well, now, he had just awakened, and before he had burst out the strength that belonged to Pluton, he was hit by a blow and his consciousness was killed. With Pluton's consciousness completely erased, the whole scene once again fell into a silent silence. One of the most broken and angry is Joey Boy. He never thought that his proud Pluton was just strangled out of consciousness, equivalent to dead. At the same moment, advertisement with Pluton erasing consciousness. Uranus and Poseidon both trembled in unison. Among them, Uranus is a fearful tremor, as Pluton's fateful opponent. It knows how terrifying Pluton's strength is. Well, now, I met a sea ancestor who did not play cards according to common sense, and just Su Xing died and could not die anymore. And Poseidon Shirahoshi is a tremor of excitement and excitement. More than 800 years ago, Uranus and Poseidon of Dog Day attacked her together in order to force her to take sides, killing countless sea kings and forcing her into a deep sleep. Now that Pluton is completely killed, Uranus will certainly not be proud for long. Pluton is dead, and now there is only one ownerless left. Shirahoshi said with a little joy, I am waiting for Uranus to be completely destroyed by Lord Luo Lei. That's for sure. Hancock said with a look of adoration, Lord Luo Lei is an invincible existence. Pluton is completely dead. On the other side, Robin came back to his senses stunned, his cheeks filled with disbelief. In fact, not only her, even Zoro, Kid, Uda, Sanji, Nami and others were frightened by the means of the ancestors of the sea to strangle Pluton's consciousness. It's good not to make a move. As soon as you make a move, it is Pluton, one of the three ancient weapons, which is simply terrible. Don't panic, and Uranus. Sakazuki took a deep breath, suppressed the throbbing in his heart, and muttered, Uranus has always been in the state of Su Xing, and should be able to burst out of peak power. Pluton was strangled, and now only Uranus is left. Rox, Roger, Whitebeard, Shiki, Garp, Sengoku and others also looked at each other, and they could see the solemn look in their eyes. There is nothing to say, they were also frightened by the means by which the ancestors of the sea strangled Pluton's consciousness. After all, this is Pluton. Say strangle, completely mercy to your subordinates. Pluton, one of the three ancient weapons, and Kaido of the beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Blackbeard, Aokiji, Kizaru, Green Bull, Ember and others also involuntarily flashed an idea in their minds. Are they still waiting for Pluton to come out? Now it seems that it will not work. Nope. We can't let the ancestors of the sea act recklessly like this. At this time, I Am Yin's teeth clenched, and he seemed to find that something was wrong, and simply ordered, Uranus, give me a government mushroom with full fire. Chapter 155, Blast Uranus. With Im's command, suspended in midair, Uranus suddenly erupted with a palpitating force, which invisibly made this sea become oppressive and heavy. Uranus is going to start attacking? I Am can't help but do it. What a powerful oppressive force. Sensing the sudden outbreak of Uranus, everyone who was still in shock instantly came to their senses, looking at Uranus in midair, all showing solemn expressions in no particular order. Everyone knew very well that after Pluton's consciousness was stifled, Uranus, who was also one of the three ancient weapons, could no longer help but do it. And almost in the next instant, Uranus trembled violently, and his whole body flashed with dazzling white light, perhaps too powerful, causing the air in the sea area to collapse in an instant, and countless cracks appeared visible to the naked eye. The next moment, without any warning, a brilliant white light erupted from Uranus's body, tearing through the air and space, and blasted towards Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, at lightning speed. Terror. Extreme horror. In the face of this attack that seems to destroy the heavens and the earth. Whether it was the people on the scene or the countless people watching the live broadcast, they couldn't help but widen their eyes, afraid of missing some wonderful scene. Ultimately, in full view of all, the white pillar of light swallowed up the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, from top to bottom. In an instant, a terrifying explosion energy wave erupted, causing a wisp of crack in the space, and the ring, which had been unmoving, began to tremble violently. It seems like it's going to crash at any moment. Good, so strong, huh? It's terrible. Uranus, one of the three ancient weapons, is really worthy of its name. Sensing the suffocating energy shockwave, countless people in the ring began to retreat at a very fast speed, and almost every 10 people had incredible expressions flashing on their cheeks. No way advertisement, it's just that Uranus's attack is terrible. Under the blow, countless spatial cracks visible to the naked eye directly appeared in the central area. What's even more numbing is that Uranus's attack has not stopped, and the white pillar of heaven is constantly falling from the sky, fiercely bombarding the area where the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, is located. For a second, 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Finally, after 3 minutes of continuous attack, Uranus's shocking blow gradually subsided. In the core area of the attack, the ring has already been blasted through, and the spatial collapse caused by countless spatial rifts directly swallowed all the ancestors of the sea, so that countless people on the scene could not feel the breath of Luo Lei at once. In an instant, the whole sea seems to have fallen into a burst of silence. Is Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, dead? Looking at the empty center of the ring, many people can't help but flash a wisp of doubt in their minds, especially Zoro, Kid, Uda, Robin, Luo and others. Observation Haki was even urged to ultimate. Ultimately nothing is perceived. The aura of Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, completely disappeared. When? After making sure again, Zoro, Sanji, Chopper, Usopp, Kid, Beckman and others couldn't help but show extremely excited expressions, and the joy in their hearts could not help but burst out. No way, it's really not easy. This ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, gave them great oppression and deterrence from beginning to end. It's good now finally, it was sanctioned by Uranus. Great. Sakazuki couldn't help but shake his magma-based fist. He already had some impatient shots. Those traitors, none of them could run away. It's terrible. The space has collapsed, because the ancestors of the sea should be dead, right? It turns out that Uranus more than 40 years ago did not show his true strength? Yes. The pillar of light that just burst out of Uranus felt like Luo Lei's black balls, an unsolvable existence. Advertisement. In the end, it was Uranus's pillar of light that had the last laugh. 0*. Rox, Roger, Whitebeard, Shiki, Zephyr and others couldn't help but sigh after they reacted. What else can they say? Uranus deserves to be Uranus. After full firepower, it can really destroy the world. This ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, was finally planted in the hands of Uranus. It's going to be fine. Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Blackbeard, Ember, Kizaru, Aokiji and others didn't care so much, and their expressions didn't change from beginning to end. They had confidence in Lord Luo Lei. Uranus's attack is very strong, but Lord Luo will not be so vulnerable. Something is wrong. Suddenly as soon as the red-haired Shank's voice came out, some of the people who were originally very happy, the expressions on their faces also froze. Even Sengoku and Garp, who had just breathed a sigh of relief, looked at their bodies, and they were indeed not affected. A crisp voice sounded, suddenly. In the next moment, Garp and Sengoku couldn't help but yell. The ancestors of the sea are not dead yet? Not good? Because. I don't know when, countless cracks have appeared on Uranus's huge body, as if they are about to crack and explode at any time. Redhead Shocks seemed to have thought of something, and the excited expression on his face instantly froze, and he couldn't wait to speak loudly. It stands to reason that Luo Lei is dead, and we should be affected, but our resurrected body is not abnormal at all, which means that the ancestors of the sea are not dead. Rumble. Like fireworks, the awesome Uranus exploded. P.S. Kneeling for tips, collections, flowers and reviews, cute new, tears kneeling to beg. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. Work. I am and Joey Boy, who had already shown a smile, their faces changed, and when they were about to say something, I am seemed to sense something, and suddenly raised his head and looked into the air. Im's expression froze, and a stunned look appeared in his eyes. What? At this time, the next moment, Chapter 156 Kill Uranus, Supercard. Devil Fruit Tree, subscribe. Blah blah. Blah blah blah. With the explosion of Uranus, countless debris fell from the sky like raindrops, and countless people who watched were stunned, and it seemed that they did not react at all. What's the situation? Uranus's attack not only did not cause any damage to Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, but also exploded himself? What kind of joke? The fact is that everyone must believe it if they do not believe it. Bang. Bang. The sound of Uranus fragments smashing on the ground sounded, and many people listening to the scene and countless people watching the live broadcast were numb in their scalps, and in addition to trembling in their hearts, they were shocked. Everyone knows very well that Uranus and Pluton, one of the 3 ancient weapons, are basically abandoned and disappeared into the long river of history? Uranus was just abolished. How is that possible? How did Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, do it? I don't know, I didn't see how I did it. 800, Uranus exploded. I didn't expect Uranus to follow in Pluton's footsteps. After a few seconds, an incredulous uproar could no longer be suppressed. The expressions on the faces of Robin, Uda, Zoro, Sanji, Luo, Kid and others have completely frozen, as if they did not expect that Uranus, who had just been magnificent, would be so vulnerable. Is there any mistake? I don't dare to write the script like that. Uranus was blown up. Sakazuki, who was already ready for battle, was like a scoop of cold water poured, and the whole person suddenly fell silly in place, and the high hope Uranus suddenly exploded and gave him a super critical blow. Roger, Rox, Shiki, Whitebeard, Zephyr, Sengoku, Garp, and others didn't know what to say except with a bitter smile. Nemas, this sea ancestor, Luo Lei is really a god-level pervert. In the face of Uranus's devastating attack, not only was it fine, but it also blew up Uranus. Hey, it was a huge shock. Uranus. That's it. Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Blackbeard, Ember, Green Bull, Kizaru and others smiled disdainfully as they looked at the fragments that Uranus had dropped on the ring. This Uranus, the attack is not anti-explosion, the name of the first British is ruined. At the headquarters of Marine, watching the fragments of Uranus fall like raindrops, the fighting spirit of countless Marine soldiers who had just been lifted up was as if they had been deflated, and the next sun entered a state of depression and disbelief. Even the staff officer of the Crane, Momoshage and other high-level officials of the Marine who had already gathered their spirits were stunned for a while, and after rubbing their eyes again, they found that Uranus was really exploded, and after a buzzing sound, they slumped in their respective chairs with dull faces. Advertisement. Apparently they didn't expect that the bullish Uranus would be so vulnerable. What's the joke? Why is that? Is Uranus such a waste? Not only did the ancestors of the sea not die, but they also blew up Uranus? And the celestial dragons in the Holy Land, Mariejois, stared at their eyes in disbelief, as if they couldn't believe what they said they saw. Nemas, originally, they all thought that the bottom card of the world government, that is, Uranus, one of the three ancient weapons, would kill the ancestors of the sea with one blow, just like more than 40 years ago. But I didn't expect that Luo Lei didn't die, but Uranus exploded? Is it a joke? When did Uranus, one of the three ancient weapons, become so wasted? This makes the celestial dragons of the Holy Land simply unacceptable, and they don't want to face this scene that shattered their faith. Meanwhile, Lord I Am, save me. I don't want to die yet. Lord I Am, save me. I'm Uranus, one of the three ancient weapons. How could it have been blasted without even noticing? With the body exploded and collapsed, Uranus, who was only left with a white ball of light, made a desperate and speechless voice. It never thought that it launched an attack that destroyed the world. Not only did it not kill the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, but also killed itself. What's even scarier is that it doesn't feel how Luo Lei does it. The huge body has already crumbled. Give me restoration. Hearing these words, I Am, who was in shock, came to his senses, and a terrifying aura fluctuation erupted from his body. Can I still call for help? Sensing Im's burst of energy and wanting to save Uranus, Luo Lei, who was suspended in midair, raised the corners of his mouth slightly and said lightly, bad. That's right, Uranus's alleged attack, for him at the level of 6 paths. Almost like tickling, after easily resisting Uranus's attack, Luo Lei retracted his breath and launched an attack on Uranus in a flash. How strong he is now, in fact, he himself is not very clear. Anyway, he did not use the power of 6 paths, just relied on his body to blast it with a blow before Uranus could react. And after he had collected all his breath, no one could perceive his, unless his strength was stronger than him. Swish. The next moment, with a sound of breaking the air, I saw a black ball appear next to Uranus's only remaining white light cluster at some time. Advertisement, I surrender to you. Don't strangle me, don't. See this black ball. Uranus made a terrified voice to Ultimate. However, everything was late, and the black ball burst out of black light, cutting through the space, and directly bombarded the only remaining white light cluster 0 in Uranus. Laugh at. In the face of this black light, Uranus's only remaining white light cluster still wanted to resist, but found that there was no use for any eggs at all, and it was directly annihilated. Maybe to death, Uranus didn't even figure out why he was like Pluton, so mercilessly killed it. But Uranus, one of the three ancient weapons, keep it and then subdue it, isn't it? 583. Uranus, like Pluton, is completely dead. Time after saying this, I Am did not hesitate and said to Joey Boy, I need your help. As long as I clean up the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, and eliminate his uncertainty, everything is easy to say. At this time, P.S. Kneeling for tips, collections, flowers and reviews, cute new, tears and kneeling. Kneel down to beg the reader boss, kneel down to beg the reader boss. The I Am and Joey Boy were dead. Really, she fought against us, Uranus and Pluton. These two dog things were finally killed after 800 years, because the ancestors of the sea, the great people, are really awesome. Shirahoshi finally couldn't help but show a relieved expression, and his heart was comfortable to Ultimate. The whole sea fell into absolute silence, HMPH. But he knew exactly what I Am was going to do. Since you killed Uranus and Pluton, don't blame us for being polite. Cool. This. Good. After seeing the almost oppressive power of Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, Joey Boy nodded without hesitation after hesitating for less than a second. Next, hearing these words, the angry I Am snorted coldly at Shirahoshi, turned his gaze 4.4, looked at Luo Lei, and roared angrily. Luo Lei, you are completely angry with me. Perhaps, 800 years later, the devil fruit tree should also return to the sea and show its invincible might. Joey Boy. Chapter 157. The Tree of Devil Fruit appears. The sea shakes, for subscription. That's right, it's the devil fruit tree. More than 800 years ago, when he and I Am were still friends, he discovered the secret of the origin of devil fruit during an expedition. That is, everything that appeared in the sea, devil fruit, fell from the devil fruit tree. In other words, the devil fruit tree is the origin of everything devil fruit. In this regard, of course, he and I Am are very excited and happy. At that time, as the sun god Nika, he planned to study the devil fruit tree to benefit all mankind. However, they were strongly opposed by IM, saying that as long as the devil fruit tree was in their own hands, they could unify the entire sea and make the sea forever peaceful. The two argued that their faces were red-faced, and in the end they broke up. The next thing is very simple, sake red face, wealth is moving, in the face of the deadly temptation of the devil fruit tree, IM has completely changed. It was at that time that Joey Boy saw how ruthless his former good friend IM was, and directly entangled the 20 strongest people on the sea to strangle him. Of course he does not 09 instigate, it also gathered some high-end combat power to carry out a strong counterattack. Whereas, that battle, which rippled the entire sea, was fought for a whole decade. The sea at that time had been broken down, and the devil fruit tree was also scattered in the fierce battle, and the escaping origin power IM absorbed 6 layers, and he absorbed 4 layers. Ultimately, he lost at the hands of IM with hatred. Forced to desperately, he slept in rubber fruit with the origin power of the 4-story devil fruit tree, wanting to be awakened one day in the future. At this point, rubber fruit is no longer ordinary, not an ordinary rubber fruit, with many attributes, such as zone anti-hit, paramecia rubber, lobia flame, severed limb recovery and so on. Advertisement among them, the humanoid fruit, phantom beast species, and Nika form is the devil fruit he ate in the first place. Because he sleeps in the rubber fruit, Luffy can also enter Nika form. When I think of this, Joey Boy couldn't help but show a bitter expression. Today, more than 800 years later, he is finally awakened, but he has to cooperate with IM to deal with a more pervert ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, who is also unlucky to ultimate. What is even more resigned and helpless is that he simply does not have a choice now, except for cooperating with IM, there is no second way to go. Ha ha ha. Hearing these words, IM, who was originally still a little apprehensive, laughed loudly, and a crazy and violent smile appeared on his cheeks under the black mask, and he yelled, "See ancestor, I'll let you see what real power is." How many years, the legendary devil fruit tree can finally appear. The terrifying scenes of Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, were indeed very strong. Pluton was strangled, Uranus was blown up, and so on, which had long been unexpected by IM. So what? Faced with the origin of devil fruit, the tree of devil fruit, the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei will definitely be severely suppressed. After all, 800 years ago, he and Joey Boy had both seen the terrifying energy of the devil fruit tree, and if it weren't for the devil fruit tree without any psychics, he and Joey wouldn't have broken up the devil fruit tree origin 5 so easily. Rao is so, devil fruit's torso is intact, even if more than 800 years have passed, it is intact, but there is no origin energy. Right now. As long as they can gather the origin energy of the devil fruit tree, they can make the true and complete devil fruit tree reappear to the sea, and they can become the host of the devil fruit tree, with the endless power and immortal body of the devil fruit tree. The legendary devil fruit tree. In the next moment, the power of Im's whole body, who was laughing, surged, and he snorted loudly and coldly. Appear. With a wave of spatial fluctuations, in front of everyone's eyes, a huge monster almost tens of thousands of meters high like a towering tree appeared on the ring. Bang! Advertisement despite being just a shell. The powerful force still made the ring tremble a few times, and countless cracks appeared, as if they were about to collapse at any time. Sure enough. Facing the towering tree in front of him, Luo Lei nodded expressionlessly, and did not show any expression of thought. After all, in the Hokage world, the sacred tree is actually 10 tails, and it is also the origin of chakra, so it is very normal for a devil fruit technique to appear in the pirate world. However, in addition to the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, the entire ring, no, the entire sea, outside the appearance of the body of devil fruit technique, fell into extreme sluggish shock and shock. Quiet. A silence and oppression 983. No way no one expected that after Uranus, one of the 3 ancient weapons, was blasted out, IM directly made a devil fruit tree? Is this a huge king bomb? Just kidding, with the name devil fruit tree alone, everyone knows what kind of earth-shattering thing this is. All along, everyone has various conjectures about how devil fruit appeared. Among them, the most accepted is undoubtedly in a mysterious place in the sea, there is a devil fruit tree, which can produce devil fruit with various attributes. Now, this conjecture has been directly confirmed. It turns out that the sea really has a devil fruit tree, which is controlled by the final boss of the world government IM. After Uranus, one of the 3 ancient weapons, was blasted, IM couldn't bear it anymore and took out this final super invincible whole card. So, in such a situation, the entire Tianhai disappeared in an instant. Chapter 158. It's time for the divine tree to appear, kneeling for subscription. So, in such a situation, the entire sea exploded in an instant. No way. Even if you have witnessed the devil fruit tree, countless people in the sea have some disbelief, and the terrifying waves set off in their hearts cannot be calmed down at all. I thought Uranus was IM's final whole card. Now, everyone knows that the devil fruit tree, which is only in everyone's fantasy, is the real whole card at the bottom of the box. Shock, it's really too shocking. So much so that many people sluggish for several seconds and do not react. After the devil fruit tree appeared in the ring, the atmosphere of this sea area has changed, even if it is just an empty shell, but That invisible breath made many people in the ring feel trembling and palpitations. Does the devil fruit tree really exist? Sensing the invisible momentum emanating from the devil fruit tree, especially the suppression and influence of the devil fruit power in the body, Shirahoshi revealed a solemn look, cold rebuke. I am and Joey Boy are really deep. Alright. More than 800 years ago, Shirahoshi never heard Joey Boy say that the sea has a devil fruit tree. Now it seems that Joey Boy, an old coin, never trusted her. HMPH. The ancestors of the sea will definitely win. Hancock snorted coldly, barely suppressing the power of the trembling sweet fruit. No matter what, she believed in the Ain people. How is that possible? I feel the power of devil fruit in my body vibrate. Damn. The power of devil fruit in the body seems to be a little out of control under the influence of the devil fruit tree. How can this be? It really seems to be the devil fruit tree that is only rumored to exist, and IM still has a few brushes. Advertisement in Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Ember, Quinn, Aokiji, Kizaru, Green Bull and others, who have always been sitting firmly on the fishing platform, all showed a ghostly expression after reacting. They've thought of a lot of possibilities. I didn't think that IM would get the devil fruit tree out, which... Is this exactly the countless demon fruit power of the Tianke Sea? At this time, it's not just them, even Rocks, Roger, Whitebeard, Zephyr, Sengoku, Garp, Redhead and others looked shocked and incredulous. What's the situation? At the critical moment, IM put another super move. Even the devil fruit tree has been made. This Nemes is too frightening. As soon as they thought that devil fruit had fallen from the devil fruit tree, they felt a tingling in their scalps for a while, and they couldn't help themselves. Because, since devil fruit can produce a variety of attributes of devil fruit, it means that the devil fruit tree itself is absolutely terrifying. It's so beautiful. The devil fruit tree appears, and then there is a chance to defeat the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei. Joey Boy and I am united. It is simply a combination of two swords. The internet is powerful and terrible. Luffy. You are indeed the true child of destiny, and we will definitely win the final victory. At this time, Zoro, Sanji, Robin, Uda, Luo, Kid and others, who had been suppressing bitterness and despair in their hearts, looked at the devil fruit tree in front of them, and finally couldn't help but show a look of anticipation and made an excited voice. Let's be honest, after Uranus was blasted by Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, they already felt desperate, thinking that IM and Joey Boy could not defeat the sea ancestors, and now that it was okay, IM and Joey Boy had reached a cooperation. The first thing is to expose the devil fruit tree. This, for them, it was a big surprise. Joke. The devil fruit tree has appeared. It may be a matter of time to defeat the ancestors of the sea. Advertisement after all, this. But the devil fruit tree, without thinking about it, must have the power to be extremely terrifying. Meanwhile, after countless people watching the live broadcast reacted, their eyes widened, and they only felt that their minds and hearts were blank, and their souls were trembling slightly. Nemes, Uranus, Pluton have all appeared, and now even the devil fruit tree has appeared, which is also so unbelievable that many people watching the live broadcast don't know what to say. Ha 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 ha, the devil fruit tree is much more awesome than Uranus, and the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, is definitely dead, and no one can save it. Lord IM is awesome and worthy of being the patron saint of the world government. Great, Naval Headquarters, already desperate Crane staff officer, Momosagi and other high-ranking Marine executives, stood up from their chairs excitedly, showing a wisp of joy for the rest of their lives. It's time for everything to end. After all, Lord IM still has more whole cards? Well, now, at a critical moment, the devil fruit tree came out and directly detonated the entire sea, quite a taste of trying to turn the tide. After Uranus was blown up, he thought it was all over. P.S. Kneeling for tips, collections, flowers and reviews, cute new, tears and kneeling. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. I am Joey Boy and the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei. After all, our world aristocracy, celestial dragons had the last laugh. In that case, then you will let everyone see what the real divine tree is. Devil fruit tree is out. As long as it plays normally, it should be able to defeat the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, right? Even the devil fruit tree has been summoned, and there is a great chance. At the same moment, when the devil fruit tree appeared, so everyone showed a shocked expression, the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, did not have any anger on his face, and the corners of his mouth appeared slightly curved. The devil fruit tree appeared, which was actually expected by him. Holy Land Mariejois, countless fearful celestial dragons looked at the devil fruit tree on the live broadcast screen, and suddenly a spirit, the inner courage, Gejao, trembling and heart shock were instantly swept away, and some only unscrupulous, arrogant smiles. Chapter 159 The appearance of the divine tree shocked the audience, kneeling for subscription. It's time for everything to end. Originally, Luo Lei still thinks that I am and Joey Boy have some awesome and unknown hole cards? Now it seems that it is this devil fruit tree. In this case, he is too lazy to waste any time. Blow up the devil fruit tree at once. Punch I am, kick I Boy and it's over. When I think of this, Luo Lei's body flashed, and he appeared in midair looking down at I am and Joey Boy who were smiling, and said lightly, "Do you want to know what the real divine tree looks like?" Huh? Luo Lei. What do you mean by that? Listening to this sentence, I Am and Joey Boy, who were still a little happy and confident, suddenly had an ominous premonition in their hearts. Nemas, listen to the meaning of Luo Lei's words. The sea seems to have some other sacred tree besides the devil fruit tree. This. Just kidding. They won't believe it. Huh. Instead of answering I Am and Joey Boy head on, Luo Lei took a deep breath and burst out of his chakra. Airplanes. The next moment, without any warning, Luo 193 Lei's body erupted with an almost endless chakra fluctuation. It directly defeated the imposing coercion emanating from the devil fruit tree, making this sea area tremble directly. Perhaps the invisible deterrent force is too strong, so that everyone who was still in shock, instantly, coming back to their senses, countless people saw a scene that they would never forget. I saw the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, clapping his hands. With the terrifying power of 6 paths, a huge humanoid creature formed of wood, with 10 protrusions on its back and 9 eyes on its head, appeared in the ring. Rumble. After the appearance of this giant humanoid creature, the powerful force made the entire sea tremble, and then it confronted the devil fruit tree very strongly. Advertisement. What? This. What is this? It feels like the devil fruit tree. It's an empty shell, but it invisibly gives people a feeling of palpitations. Sleeping. No way. Do the sea ancestors also own a divine tree similar to the devil fruit tree? Looking at the huge humanoid creature that appeared. In an instant, whether it was the people in the ring or the countless people watching the live broadcast, while their scalps were numb, they couldn't help but let out an incredible uproar, and the gaze at the huge humanoid creature was like a ghost. However, this is just the beginning. With the endless blessing of chakra, the ancestors of the sea, that, as if activated, the giant humanoid creature began to slowly change form. 9 eyes became 1 eye, and a protrusion behind it became 10 tails. Roar. After a few minutes, 10 tails opened his eyes and roared angrily. The powerful force made the entire sea shake violently. That's right, it's that the whole sea shakes. And when the sea has not yet come to its senses, swish. A sound of breaking the air sounded. Luo Lei's body appeared on 10 Tails' head, and Yun said lightly, "You can call it 10 Tails, you can also call it the divine tree." Rumble. This sentence is like a fuse, with the momentum of sparks and fires, quickly detonating the entire sea. Countless people, even I Am and Joey Boy, showed expressions that shocked Ultimate, only to feel a roar in their heads, shaking Ultimate. What's the situation? In addition to the devil fruit tree, is there a chakra sacred tree? How is that possible? But the facts are in front of everyone, and everyone believes if they don't, believe. The divine tree. This should be a chakra sacred tree. I kind of understand. No wonder the ancestor of the sea is so strong. It turns out that he ate a chakra divine tree. Advertisement. If the chakra divine tree is still on the sea, doesn't it mean that everyone can cultivate chakra, and ninjas will also become the mainstream of the sea? At this moment, looking at 10 Tails almost destroying the world, I Am was stunned for a while, and in a trance it was as if he had seen the devil fruit tree 800 years ago. The only difference may be that the devil fruit tree has too many devil fruits, making his own power not as powerful as the 10 Tails in front of him. This made I Am feel a little uncomfortable and want to cry. Special, is it really that people are more angry than people? He and Joey Boy fought for nearly 800 years over a devil fruit tree that had an unknown number of devil fruits. It's good now the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, monopolized the chakra sacred tree. No wonder the ninjas on the sea are not a climate. It turns out that all the chakra has been absorbed by Luo Lei. Monopolizing the power of the chakra divine tree, no wonder it is so powerful. What kind of monster is this? Joey Boy also showed a sudden realization expression, and in addition to shock, there was a burst of despair and helplessness in his heart. He thought of many possibilities, but he did not expect that the sea actually had a chakra sacred tree, which was also included by Luo Lei, which can also explain why Luo Lei is so powerful. So it is. The chakra divine tree has long been included by the ancestors of the sea. This 10 Tails in front of you should be the whole card and secret weapon of Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, right? This. Wouldn't that be? Zoro, Robin, Uta, Sanji, Kid and others, who were already hopeful, also showed a gloomy expression. Their hearts were like riding some roller coaster, 7 up and 8 down, and now the appearance of an unknown chakra sacred tree made their hearts completely fall to the bottom. After all, even a fool knows, even if the devil fruit tree gathers the power of I Am and Joey Boy, it cannot be the opponent of Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea who monopolized the chakra sacred tree. Unless the devil fruit tree can recover the power of the countless devil fruits scattered on the sea. Is this possible? Chapter 160 Im's last stubbornness, kneeling for subscription? Is this possible? Let everyone spit out the power of the devil fruit that they have eaten. That will undoubtedly kill many people. It is completely impossible. Since it is impossible, then it is impossible for the devil fruit tree to return to its peak period. Not returning to its peak, take the head and fight the big sea ancestor Luo Lei, who monopolized the chakra sacred tree. Uncomfortable. As soon as I thought of this, Zoro, Robin, Uta, Sanji, Kid, Luo and others fell into despair in their hearts. Luffy worked so hard, also awakened the legendary Joey Boy, but there is no use for any eggs, so they are eaten to death by the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, and it can only be said that the opponent is really too pervert. There are really too many whole cards. Even if I am and Joey Boy were suppressed to death more than 800 years ago. Can't fight, it's really impossible to fight. What's the joke? Sakazuki, who was already ready to go, was like a deflated balloon, showing an extremely incredulous expression. How did he not expect that after Lord I Am revealed his whole card, the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, also revealed a bigger whole card Devil Fruit Tree and Chakra Divine Tree would face each other head on? Is this the rhythm of Lord I Am? It's all over? Unexpectedly, the Inhai ancestor actually controlled a Chakra Divine Tree alone. No wonder Luo Lei's wood style is so strong, chakra is almost endlessly. It turns out that the Chakra Sacred Tree played a key role. Convinced. I was completely convinced. And Rocks, Roger, Whitebeard, Zephyr, Shiki and others, after glancing at each other, they can see the bitterness in their eyes. There is nothing to say. It is not that I Am and Joey Boy are not strong enough, but the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, is too pervert and terrible, and he is confident and in control of everything from beginning to end. Advertisement. It's all over. I didn't expect that there was a Chakra Sacred Tree on the sea. Sengoku and Garp both looked a little gloomy and weak, and the two thought of many possibilities, but they did not expect that after I Am and Joey Boy summoned the legendary Devil Fruit Tree, the ancestors of the sea created a Chakra Sacred Tree. Needlepoint to my Mang? No, this is one-sided crushing and self-confidence. Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, seems to have completely eaten I Am and Joey Boy. Ha ha ha, I'll just say that Lord Luo Lei won't admit it easily, right? I Am and Joey Boy have the Devil Fruit Tree, Lord Luo Lei has the Chakra Tree, who is afraid of whom? The clown is still I Am and Joey Boy after all. This, for more than 800 years, it is considered to have lived to the dog's body, and no matter what whole cards there are, they have been suppressed by Lord Luo Lei. Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Ember, Quinn and others showed their excitement and pride after coming to their senses. And Lord Luo Lei did not disappoint them, proving that your uncle will always be your uncle. Even I Am and Joey Boy, they have to kneel and sing conquer. Among them, Kuzan, Kizaru, Green Bull, Black Horse and other people who stood in line with the ancestors of the sea also breathed a sigh of relief. Originally, after the Devil Fruit Tree was summoned, it was impossible for them not to worry and fear in their hearts, after all, this. But the rumored Devil Fruit Tree, now. Worried about a hammer? The Chakra Sacred Tree is out. What reason do they have not to believe in Lord Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea? At the same moment, countless people watching the live broadcast in the entire sea, after the initial shock, looked at the 10 Tails Sacred Tree on the live broadcast screen that seemed to destroy the world. Their hearts have been completely numb. If given a choice, what do they really not want to watch live? This great war is indeed earth-shattering, shaking the entire sea, but, from time to time, the ancestors of the sea give everyone a surprise that shocks the soul. No, it is a surprise, which leads to emotional ups and downs, which is something that individuals will not be able to bear. The Riento, the countless marine soldiers of the naval headquarters already have some dull eyes. The momentum that had just emerged directly collapsed, and even sat directly on the ground, as if it had lost its spirit and vitality, lifeless and vigorous. No doubt zero. Ask for flowers. Zero advertisement. They have been completely struck by the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei. Why is that? Bang, bang, with one sound after another. In the conference room on the top floor of the naval headquarters, Staff Officer Crane, Momosagi and other senior executives who remained in the naval headquarters slumped in their chairs with shocked faces, and there was only a bitterness and weakness in their minds except for the roar. This sea ancestor Luo Lei is a monster, and there is really no need to fight it. And in the Holy Land Mariejois, the happy look on the cheeks of countless celestial dragons has frozen, and their eyes flicker with a look of uncertainty. Apparently also shocked by the 10 Tails Sacred Tree. What's the situation? Zero, the sea actually has a Chakra Sacred Tree. Doesn't that mean that Lord I Am, who mastered the Devil Fruit Tree, has been eaten again? This led countless celestial dragons who are accustomed to being domineering. There is an unprecedented sense of crisis and panic in their hearts. They are not wine bags and rice bags. The basic situation is still clearly distinguished. Once the celestial dragons of the Yim Great World Nobles are definitely the first to liquidate. Isn't something bad? Suddenly the celestial dragons of the Holy Land are in desperate fear. Meanwhile, Luo Lei, I really didn't expect that you actually have a Chakra Sacred Tree. Convinced. I am really convinced. When the scene was extremely depressed, I Am made a sound of anger and defeat. If anyone had clairvoyant eyes, they would find that I Am's pretty face under the black mask had been vaguely distorted. For more than 800 years, she has never been continuously suppressed and eaten to death. It's unbearable. Even if she can't fight, she has to fight back, because she is the master behind the world government, the master of the Void Throne, I Am. This is also her last stubbornness. Chapter 161 Cilia Mom and Joey Boyle, for subscription. When I think of this, I Am took a deep breath of air and barely suppressed the throbbing in his heart. There is nothing to say. She will not throw in the towel, and it is impossible to admit defeat. Isn't it the Chakra Sacred Tree? It's over if you do it. On the other side, Joey Boy and Luffy also fell into a look of uncertainty. Thereunto, Luffy, who is in the spiritual world of Joey Boy, is the most confused and desperate, thinking that after awakening Joey Boy, he can turn the tide and defeat the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, and avenge Grandpa Garp, red-haired Shanks, Sabo, and his father. It's good now I am and Joey Boy had just revealed the devil fruit tree and Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, had created a chakra tree. This. Invisibly, Luffy's heart is as uncomfortable as eating. 1, 2, 3. And wants to cry. Nemas, he has thought of many possibilities, that is, he did not think that the sea actually has the existence of the sacred tree from chakra. Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, taught him another lesson about the true cruelty of the sea. Joey Boy, can you win? If you lose, the whole sea will be finished. Not only do I want to die, but even my friends and friends may die, you must find a way to defeat Luo Lei. Otherwise, I'm going to take over the body. So, in such a case, Luffy in the spirit world began to yell in a hurry. Shut me up. Listen to the voices that ring in your head. Joey Boy, who was still in a state of shock, couldn't help but snort angrily. Specially. Which pot does not open which pot, after being activated and awakened by Luffy, he has been deflated, eaten to death by the ancestors of the sea, and the appearance of the chakra sacred tree has made his heart vaguely desperate. It turned out well. This Luffy, who has a problem with his brain, is still there to disturb his mind, and there is really a problem. Advertisement being yelled at by Joey Boy, Luffy was stunned at once, opened his mouth, but found that he couldn't say anything, and in the end, he could only show an extremely aggrieved expression. Starting with West Blue, he smoothly became the Emperor of the Sea. After the resurrection of Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, everything has changed. He seems to have changed from a child of fate to an outcast of fate, constantly deflated, and now he is still disliked by Joey Boy. This made Luffy feel sad in a trance. Damn it. We can only fight on our backs. Even if they die together, they can't let the ancestor of the sea, Lule, do whatever he wants in the sea. At this time, Joey Boy ignored Luffy, who was saddened by death, but gritted his teeth and let out a final cry. Since there was no way back, then he opened up his fire and bit off a piece of meat from the body of the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei. Listening to this sentence, nodded neatly, turned his gaze, glanced at Luo Lei, and said coldly, I really didn't expect that there is actually a chakra sacred tree in the sea, but we will not easily admit defeat. Luo Lei shrugged his shoulders indifferently and said lightly, if I tell you that the chakra sacred tree does not exist in the sea, but I made it, will you believe it? What? Impossible, absolutely impossible, the voice has not fallen. And Joey Boy exclaimed in disbelief, looking at Luo Lei like some idiot. Are you kidding? Is the divine tree made by man? Is it true that when they have no knowledge, is it a lie? If true, doesn't that mean the devil fruit tree was also made by man? It's completely impossible. Humph. Advertisement Luo Lei didn't care so much, snorted coldly, and said, Joey Boy, you are still too weak, don't you know that when your strength is strong to a certain extent, there is nothing impossible. The chakra tree is just a toy I made, and you guys are scared to pee. When he said this, Luo Lei paused slightly and added in a sarcastic tone, you two guys have really lived to the body of a dog for more than 800 years. No. You're afraid you're not joking, are you? And Joey Boy's bodies were a little stiff, still couldn't believe it, and their expressions changed for a while. Both of them knew very well that if this chakra sacred tree in front of them was really made by the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, then Luo Lei's true strength has definitely reached a level that even they have to look up to. Therefore, they can't believe it, even if they are deceiving themselves, they won't believe it. Why is that? Is the chakra divine tree really made by the ancestors of the sea? No way. How can it be? At this moment, not only and Joey Boy, but even the people in the ring, as well as countless people watching the live broadcast, were stunned first, and then showed a wisp of extreme horror. No way. Originally, everyone thought that the chakra sacred tree was the existence of the sea. Is it after being controlled by the ancestors of the sea that Luo Lei is so powerful and unsolvable? Now, the chakra sacred tree was made by Luo Lei, is there any mistake? Pondering the horror. Can you easily make a 0.7 carat divine tree? Doesn't that mean Luo Lei is stronger than expected? After a few seconds, Luo Lei didn't bother to say anything, and said in a deep voice, since the devil fruit tree has appeared, then I will reluctantly take it into my pocket. After saying this, under the incredulous eyes of and Joey Boy, the behemoth chakra divine tree changed its form again, directly becoming taller than the devil fruit tree, and then countless branches appeared, imprisoning the devil fruit tree. Chapter 162 The Tree of Devil Fruit revives, subscription. Not good. The devil fruit tree is imprisoned? Damn, what exactly is Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, trying to do? Can't he want to absorb the devil fruit tree? The sudden change made and Joey Boy both pause, and after reacting, they both showed extremely incredulous expressions. What's the situation? Doesn't Luo Lei know that the devil fruit tree is an immortal existence even if it has no origin power, even if it is only a shell left? No matter how strong the divine tree is, it's impossible to break the devil fruit tree, right? Phew. The next moment, took a deep breath and said coldly, we can't let him act recklessly, let's do it too. That's right. Listening to this sentence, Joey Boy also nodded solemnly and said in a deep voice, "Then let's fight against the water." Swish, swish. The voice has not fallen, with two breaking sounds. Imho Joey Boy's body flashed into the devil fruit tree. In the moment of integration into the devil fruit tree, the originally lifeless devil fruit tree 09 burst out for the second spring like a long drought, erupting into a terrifying energy shockwave that made the space tremble slightly. Click. Perhaps it was too strong, and a wisp of crack faintly appeared in the space, causing the entire sea to tremble one after another. Strong. Very tough, of course, advertisement with the devil fruit tree origin power in place. Above the sea, whoever eats devil fruit, invisibly, they all have an inexplicable sense of closeness to the devil fruit tree, just like the feeling of facing their mother when they were children, and the devil fruit energy in the body also began to surge. Can't you bear to revive the devil fruit tree? Seeing this scene, Luo Lei showed a disdainful smile. He was waiting for the devil fruit to recover. Only in this way, the chakra divine tree could achieve a metamorphosis after absorbing the devil fruit tree. The devil fruit tree is revived. Well, so strong, huh? I Am and Joey Boy are going to fight back. A few seconds later, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, Robin, Uda, Nami, Kid and others came to their senses and looked at the fully revived devil fruit tree in the field. They are all well aware, the final decisive battle that really determines the direction of the sea and the course of history is about to begin. Fortunately, if you win, the sea will return to its previous state, and if you lose, the entire sea will completely enter the era of the ancestors of the sea to waste mines. It's finally started. I didn't expect that we who died could witness this historic scene. Yes. The ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, killed people, and it was completely pinched by us. Rox, Roger, Whitebeard, Zephyr, Shiki and others, after glancing at each other, in addition to helplessness, there was a wisp of bitterness on their cheeks. Even if they had stood at the peak of the sea, they had no idea. This sea ancestor resurrected them in order to retaliate against them. I hope to win. Sengoku glanced at the devil fruit tree and comforted meaningfully. If the devil fruit tree can forcibly take back the devil fruit scattered all over the sea, it may not be without the power of a battle. Wait a minute. Hearing these words, Garp didn't react at first, but then he seemed to think of something. His eyes swept a ray of essence, and he couldn't help but say, "Yes. If the devil fruit tree takes back all the scattered devil fruit, maybe we still have a chance." Advertisement. The corners of Sengoku's mouth twitched slightly, opened his mouth, wanted to say something, but shook his head helplessly. He just wanted to comfort Garp. Where did he want Garp to believe it? There was some egg pain, because, with the strength displayed by Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea now, the devil fruit tree is not an opponent even if it takes back all the devil fruit. Didn't you see that the chakra divine tree was imprisoning the devil fruit tree and didn't move? At a glance, you can see that Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, is waiting for I Am and Joey Boy to revive the devil fruit tree, and then give Yim and Joey Boy a blow to drink, so that they can go from hope to despair. Ha ha ha, I Am and Joey Boy are still resisting. I really didn't expect that I Am and Joey Boy would still have such iron heads by this time. At this time, the most happy and excited are Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Ember, Kuzan, Kizaru, Green Bull and others, and they don't need to think about it now. They don't need to think about it. Lord Luo Lei has won, and it is only a matter of time before the battle ends. As for the countless people watching the live broadcast on the sea, but he didn't even dare to breathe in the atmosphere. His eyes didn't dare to blink, silently staring at the live broadcast screen. In such a disadvantageous situation, I Am and Joey Boy choose to revive the legendary Devil Fruit 167 solid tree, which proves to be a last-ditch fight. This battle that has affected the entire sea is about to end. And so it is. After reviving the devil fruit tree, I Am and Joey Boy were not idle, and as soon as their minds moved, they began to urge the devil fruit tree to recover the devil fruit scattered all over the sea, wanting to restore the peak power of the devil fruit tree to the greatest extent. Give me back. A cold drink sounded. It's like a fuse. The devil fruit tree burst out with a majestic suction force aimed only at devil fruit, enveloping this sea at lightning speed. So, after a few seconds, without warning, countless people saw a scene that they would never forget. Swish, swish, swish. Countless sounds of breaking the sky sounded from all over the sea, and I saw countless densely packed devil fruits, rushing towards the place where the devil fruit tree was. Chapter 163. Absorbing countless devil fruit, subscription. That's right, it's the overwhelming devil fruit from all over the sea, rushing madly towards devil fruit. So, in such a case, countless people watching the live broadcast on the sea subconsciously glanced around them, and saw a picture they had never seen before, only to see one by one devil fruit emerge from different places, flew up, and disappeared into everyone's eyes at a very fast speed. What? Good. A lot of devil fruit. Are there so many undiscovered devil fruits? It's terrible, isn't it? Soon with an uproar, countless people watching the live broadcast on the sea, in addition to their shocked faces, couldn't help but show a look of fear, and only felt a burst of shock and palpitations. No way, there are so many devil fruits that it makes people's scalps tingle. Of course. There are still some forces around the sea that collect devil fruit, and they are also instantly stupid. Because, after the devil fruit tree began to summon devil fruit, Their collection of devil fruit rushed out uncontrollably. Even if it was placed in the treasure vault, it was washed out of a hole, and there seemed to be no force to prevent devil fruit from returning to the arms of the devil fruit tree. Thereunto, the biggest losses are undoubtedly the giants of various countries, underground dark forces, as well as major families, pirates, marine, world government. Especially the Holy Land Mariejois celestial dragons. Originally, after seeing and Joey Boy cooperate to fight against the water, they didn't even dare to breathe the atmosphere, and they knew very well whether celestial dragons could be a world nobleman in the future and enjoy countless privileges, all tied to the devil fruit tree. The result? But I saw the devil fruit tree summoning the devil fruit scattered all over the sea. Advertisement. This Nema has some that make the celestial dragons speechless. To put it mildly, more than 800 years of accumulation, the celestial dragons family in their holy land themselves do not know how many devil fruits they have collected, and some devil fruits with quite good attributes have been collected by them. Well, now, 1,000 days of firewood and burning a day, and 1 day back to the pre-liberation. Ah, carrot, devil fruit all flew away on its own. This is our celestial dragons. He was summoned away by the devil fruit tree. Looking at the devil fruit that pierced the treasure vault like raindrops, the celestial dragons in the Holy Land only felt that their hearts were dripping blood, and in addition to being powerless, there were bursts of heartache and resignation. Nemas. In the face of the ancestors of the sea, they were deflated again, and that feeling was really more uncomfortable than eating. Gollum. Gollum. And looking at the dense devil fruit, the officials of the world government, who had already knelt on the ground and shivered, in addition to swallowing saliva, they swallowed saliva. $3. It's really a lot of devil fruit. Celestial dragons are worthy of the world's aristocracy, really too rich. Meanwhile, in the ring above Wanokuni, as countless devil fruits poured in from all directions, the devil fruit tree began to tremble violently, emitting a wave of palpitating breath fluctuations. However very embarrassing, no matter how the devil fruit tree exudes breath fluctuations. The chakra divine tree, which imprisoned it, did not react at all, and seemed to take the action of the devil fruit tree summoning devil fruit to the eye. HMPH. I don't believe it yet. Facing the chakra divine tree that did not react at all, who was inside the devil fruit tree, snorted coldly and said, "When you absorb these summoned devil fruits, you will know the true power of the devil fruit tree. The ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, we will not let you succeed easily." Advertisement. Joey Boy gritted his teeth and also put a cruel sentence. "Even if you die, it will drag you on the back of the pad." Rumble. With the harsh words of and Joey Boy. The devil fruit tree once again erupted with an aura fluctuation that was only aimed at devil fruit. Swish. 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 Devil fruit, which was originally rushing towards the devil fruit tree, once again accelerated its speed, turning into a residual image one after another, overwhelming the body of the devil fruit tree. This. How shocking. Did the devil fruit tree produce so many devil fruits? Backquote. Having absorbed so much devil fruit, isn't the devil fruit tree going to achieve a super metamorphosis? It's more than metamorphosis. This devil fruit tree is a prelude to an explosion? Watching countless devil fruits being absorbed by the devil fruit tree, Zoro, Uda, Robin, Sanji, Usopp and others in the ring were staring at each other with wide eyes. In addition to shock, it was a burst of amazement. There is nothing to say. If the devil fruit tree does not erupt, it is amazing when it explodes, and it will destroy the rhythm of the world. Tet is terrifying and pervert. After all, on the sea, except for Blackbeard, everyone can only eat one devil fruit, and now that everyone has seen it, the devil fruit tree has absorbed countless devil fruit in the blink of an eye. I feel the breath of shock fruit. As if sensing something, Whitebeard made an incredible sound. Me too. The fruit of Gon, Wang Dezhou, was also absorbed by the devil fruit tree. Golden Lion Shiki responded with a stunned expression. It seems that this time the devil fruit tree is really going to fight to the death. I really didn't expect that the devil fruit tree would be so terrifying, summoning so many devil fruits back. Rox showed a shocked expression and didn't know what to say. By this time, he learned that the Rox era he created was a complete joke. Roger, who was sick with Rox, also shook his head bitterly. In vain he proudly opened the era of sea thieves. It turned out, what he did, Rizzy was not put in the eyes of Chapter 164. The Restored Devil Fruit Tree, Subscription. Originally, what he did has never been put in the eyes of Egg hurts. It hurts so much, that's when it came to that. Roger experienced a sense of depression and powerlessness from the inside out. He was ignored by and by Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, and barely had a little relationship with Joey Boy, and felt that there was no use for eggs. Because, now Joey Boy has joined forces with Rouge and Ace, I'm sorry for you, I'm not a good husband and I'm not a good father. Roger shook his head a little glumly, and his heart was relieved. He has already given up. Whoever wins, it doesn't matter. He doesn't take it to heart. Everything has nothing to do with him. Soon, after sighing, Whitebeard shook his head consciously. His cheeks had long lost any pride and awe, and he looked at Marco and the others who chose to stand in line with the ancestors of the sea, and he was relieved. Without his protection, his sons, after all, made the right choice. There is nothing wrong with it. In order to live, there is no chill at all. Now it depends on how long these 423 so-called devil fruit trees can last. Whitebeard Dad, sensing Whitebeard's eyes. Marco and others subconsciously lowered their heads. However, they soon realized something, and quickly raised their heads and stared at Whitebeard without fear, and they did not regret the choice at all. No way, it's really the ancestor of the sea. Luo Lei is too strong, so that Marco and other remnants of the Whitebeard pirate group, their hearts were shaken, and after weighing the pros and cons, they chose to stand in line with the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei. Phew, the real battle is about to begin. Devil Fruit Technique and Chakra Divine Tree at the pinnacle, it's a little exciting to think about? Advertisement, yes. This. Perhaps the future of the sea will be decided. And looking at the Devil Fruit Tree that continues to absorb Devil Fruit, Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Ember, Kizaru, Kuzan, Green Bull and others all took a deep breath, their eyes faintly showing excitement. Now I Am and Joey, AJFG, boy are going to fight back. It depends on how Lord Luo Lei wants to show his sword, anyway, they hope that Lord Luo Lei can manipulate I Am and Joey boy at once. Uranus and Pluton were abolished, and the Devil Fruit Tree was just a stubborn resistance. The corners of Shirahoshi's mouth curved slightly and said confidently, I believe. Lord Luo Lei will not let us down. Of course think so, in fact, Shirahoshi still has some happiness in his heart. Fortunately, when she was on the Fishmen Island, she chose to stand in line with Lord Luo Lei. Now it seems that there is nothing wrong with her choice, what should Luffy, what should Joey boy are just rubbish. Uranus, Pluton, is also vulnerable. The concubine's vision is really good. Hancock also raised his head proudly and glanced at the Devil Fruit Tree, without any fear, but with some desire to laugh. This Devil Fruit Tree, having absorbed so much Devil Fruit, I am not afraid to support myself to death. As for the sweet fruit in his body being summoned by the Devil Fruit Tree and began to stir, Hancock suppressed it without thinking. At such a critical moment, the sweet fruit should not go to the excitement to find death. In fact, it's not just Hancock, in the ring, many demon fruit powers subconsciously suppressed the Devil Fruit power in their bodies, including Robin, Kid, Luo, Nami and others of the Straw Hat Major League, and Marine Marshal, Sakazuki. For a second, 10 seconds, 3 minutes. Ultimately advertisement after 20 minutes, the Devil Fruit Tree has just been absorbed from all directions, the Devil Fruit. Invisibly, the breath that erupted on the body became more and more terrifying and majestic, making the atmosphere of the entire sea extremely depressed, just like the prelude to the coming storm, making people tremble. Good. So strong, huh? How do you feel that the whole sea has been affected? Even if the current Devil Fruit Tree can't beat you, it can't lose. I Am let out a triumphant laugh and said, Luo Lei, I don't know if you are confident or proud. Let the Devil Fruit Tree absorb so much Devil Fruit, aren't you afraid of capsizing in the gutter? From the beginning, whether it was the people in the ring or the countless people watching the live broadcast on the sea, they couldn't help but make shocked sounds one after another, and some of them were slightly weaker, their legs were soft, and their faces were extremely pale and sat on the ground. Ha ha ha. Could it be that? This is the real Devil Fruit Tree. It's terrifying, isn't it? Well, now it's good, the ancestors of the sea have never obstructed it, that. I'm sorry, but the Devil Fruit Tree, which has absorbed countless Devil Fruit scattered all over the sea, has recovered most of its power. Because, the current Devil Fruit Tree is like a legendary god, making people dare not look at it directly. Joey Boy also made a cold voice and said, since you were so arrogant, let you see the true power of the Devil Fruit Tree after the battle. At this time, all right, as the breath of the Devil Fruit Tree becomes more and more depressed. I Am and Joey Boy began to worry, if Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, prevents the Devil Fruit Tree from absorbing Devil Fruit, it will surely lose. When I think of this, suddenly I Am and Joey Boy, who are integrated into the Devil Fruit Tree, both look at the Demon Fruit power in the ring. If these Demon Fruit power Devil Fruit power is absorbed, the Devil Fruit Tree is afraid that it will be much stronger. Chapter 165 Don't shed tears without seeing the coffin, for subscription. Sensing Im's undisguised greed, many Demon Fruit power in the ring couldn't help but shiver. Especially under the influence of the Devil Fruit Tree, the Devil Fruit power in their bodies actually showed signs of losing control, as if they were going to break away from their bodies and go straight to the Devil Fruit Tree. Humph. But at such a moment, the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, snorted coldly, like a thunder on the ground, causing the restless energy in the body of many Demon Fruit powers on the scene to calm down in the blink of an eye. Damn it, I Am. You're dead. Ember wiped the cold sweat on his forehead, and couldn't help but shout angrily. From now on, the Devil Fruit Tree belongs to Lord Luo Shao. Damn it really. Jack clenched his fist and said furiously, you still want to absorb the Devil Fruit energy in us, do you deserve it? I Am and Joey Boy are really bad luck. Fortunately, Lord Luo Lei broke up the invisible aura fluctuations of the Devil Fruit Tree at a critical moment. The Devil Fruit Tree is indeed pervert, but, facing Lord Luo Lei's chakra sacred tree, it can only be crushed and absorbed. With Ember and Jack's opening, Demon Fruit powers such as Quinn, Kuzan, Kizaru, Green Bull, etc., couldn't help but show a relieved expression after suppressing the throbbing in their hearts. Because at that moment, they actually had an urge to dedicate themselves to the Devil Fruit Tree. It was undoubtedly influenced by the Devil Fruit Tree. Dog Day Im and Joey Boy, it's really damn to use the Devil Fruit Tree to influence them. As for Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin and others who were Impure World Reincarnation, because Impure World Reincarnation's body is relatively special, there is no feeling that Song is showing a Mu Yang expression. What else can be said? At this time, I Am and Joey Boy are still resisting stubbornly, and they really don't know the height of the sky. Wait to be blasted by the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei at once. Hearing these words, advertisement I Am, who integrated into the devil fruit tree, showed an extremely aggrieved expression, took a deep breath, and let out a cruel word without hesitation. You all wait for me, as long as I can win, you all die. After saying this, I Am also added incompetently and furiously. The devil fruit tree will definitely not disappoint me. Nemas, these ant-like things, to openly despise and underestimate him is really damned. Huh. In this regard, everyone in the ring who stood in line with the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei showed a disapproving expression, and they all farted when Im's words were blowing. Win? Are you really thinking about fart? I am. Let's get down to business first. At this time, Joey Boy shook his head, took a deep breath, and said solemnly, the first task now is to free the devil fruit tree from the confinement of the chakra divine tree. Number 7. I Am gritted his teeth and said coldly, no matter what, I won't admit defeat, but the master of the void throne. The voice has not fallen. The chakra divine tree, which had not made any movement, burst out with an aura fluctuation that seemed to be able to destroy the heavens and the earth, and then began to tremble violently. I want to get rid of the confinement of the chakra divine tree. Click click click. Maybe the energy burst is too violent and majestic. With the devil fruit tree as the center, wisps of visible cracks began to appear in the air, and even the space was distorted with the naked eye, and what made the scalps of countless people on the scene numb was that this sea area, no, it was the whole sea that seemed to start shaking. Obviously, the invisible momentum of the devil fruit tree has affected the entire sea. Terror. Horrible. In the face of such a terrifying devil fruit tree. Whether it is the people in the ring or the countless people watching the live broadcast, in addition to the horror on their cheeks, they are incredulous, and their eyes are full of dull gazes. No way it's really the power of the devil fruit tree that erupted too terrifyingly. Advertisement 0. Ask for flowers. What makes countless people watching the live broadcast have a tingling in their scalps is that the place where they are located is thousands of kilometers away from Wanokuni, and some even have a distance of hundreds of thousands of kilometers. The result? You can feel the ground shaking, as if the entire sea has been greatly affected. However, and what's very weird is that the devil fruit tree is in a frenzy eruption and sign. The chakra tree that imprisoned it was unaffected, and it had the smell that no matter how much you struggled, you couldn't escape the palm of my hand. For a second, I Am, Joey Boy, you really don't see the coffin without tears. 3 minutes, after all seeing that the time is ripe. Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea who has always been coldly watching, suddenly laughed loudly, showing Azu's characteristic smile. Do whatever you want, then start when you burst devil fruit. How is that possible? Ha ha ha. It was very embarrassing that the chakra divine tree was not affected in the slightest, and in an instant, the originally somewhat suffocating atmosphere became a little weird. 10 seconds. P.S. Kneeling for tips, collections, flowers and reviews, cute new, tears and kneeling. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. Kneel down to beg the reader boss. D. Of course, at this time, the most anxious and flustered were I Am and Joey Boy, who were sweating coldly, and they never thought that the devil fruit tree, which had absorbed so much devil fruit, could not break the confinement of the chakra divine tree after breaking out with full force. Why is that? This devil fruit tree can't break free from the confinement of the chakra divine tree with such an outbreak, and you don't need to think about it to know that the chakra divine tree is definitely much stronger than the devil fruit tree. I'll let you see the true strength of the chakra divine tree. Everyone is not a fool, it just made them unbelievable. As time ticks by, the devil fruit tree has erupted into an ultimate. Chapter 166 Desperate I Am, Joey Boy, Luffy, for subscription. Rumble. With Luo Lei's words, the chakra divine tree, which had not been moving, erupted into an aura fluctuation that was even more terrifying and vast than the devil fruit tree, shaking the entire sea. Then, in front of everyone's eyes, wisps of black energy permeated out at lightning speed, wrapped around the dense branches of the chakra sacred tree. 0. Chakra divine tree, give me full fire. Seeing this scene, Luo Lei's eyes flashed crimson, and he almost didn't hesitate to give an order without hesitation. Laugh at. The voice has not fallen. The chakra sacred tree imprisons the countless branches of the devil fruit tree. Under the blessing of the power of 6 paths, the power was increased violently, as if it wanted to blast the devil fruit tree. 010, alive. Alright. After entering the 6 paths level, in fact, Luo Lei himself doesn't know how powerful his strength is. Invisibly, the strength of the chakra divine tree is much stronger than that divine tree in the Hokage world. So, just launched an attack. Perhaps the strength is too strong, so that the sea, which was already trembling, trembles more and more violently, and there is a taste of destroying the world. Damn it, not good. What is this force? Danger. Extremely dangerous, at the moment when the chakra sacred tree bursts. The cells of I Am and Joey Boy's body are frantically warning that something terrible is about to happen, making their souls tremble with fear, crazy sounding alarms. This made and Joey Boy trembling, and the whole person was not good at once. Say a word. Very unpleasant words. For the first time in more than 800 years, the two of them felt this sense of crisis deep in the bone marrow. Even Joey Boy, who had already died once, couldn't help but overflow a trace of cold sweat on his forehead, and his heart hurt and panicked. All right. At the beginning, he and because he has obtained the origin power of the devil fruit tree, he cannot die and die. Advertisement. The only difference is that has lived hard for more than 800 years, while he has boarded in rubber fruit with his own abilities, living in a different way, and now he is good. Facing the chakra divine tree, he actually had a feeling of dying, which was simply incredible. Joey Boy, you are really too weak. At this time, Luo Lei shook his head expressionlessly and ordered lightly. Now I will let you see what the real ancestor of the sea is. Chakra divine tree. Blast me to absorb the devil fruit tree and make them feel desperate. Airplanes. As soon as this sentence came out, it's like a fuse. The chakra divine tree twisted violently, wrapped around the countless branches of the devil fruit tree, and directly burst out. What? Impossible. The devil fruit tree's origin power doesn't seem to be able to defend itself. No. How so? Sensing the crazy outbreak of the chakra sacred tree, and Joey Boy's eyes contracted violently a few times, and without hesitation, they roused the devil fruit tree's origin power to an ultimate, trying to resist the 5-6 paths from the chakra divine tree. However, everything is meaningless. The power of the current 6 paths of the chakra divine tree is not the power of ordinary 6 paths, but the power of 6 paths mixed with the special energy of the ancestors, and quantitative changes cause qualitative changes, which is no longer something that the original power of the devil fruit tree can resist. In a nutshell, perhaps the origin power of the devil fruit tree can be comparable to the power of ordinary 6 paths, with the power to destroy the inheritance, but one ancestor is still one ancestor away from the power of the 6 paths of the chakra divine tree. So in less than a few seconds, click. A piercing cracking sound came from the devil fruit tree. I saw that under the pressure of the countless branches of the chakra sacred tree, the tree of devil fruit, which was known as indestructible, was like glass, and countless cracks like spider webs began to appear. That's right, you read that right, even if it is covered by the power of the origin. The devil fruit tree has a wisp of cracks. Advertisement. Of course, and that's not all. As a crack appeared in the devil fruit tree, the origin power also began to flow at a speed visible to the naked eye, and as for the place where it passed, it was the chakra divine tree. No. Why is this happening? Is crazy. Utterly crazy. The whole person is as manic as falling into a mad demon. She didn't expect that she finally summoned up the courage to fight against the water, but she was so vulnerable, and the devil fruit tree was even more useless, and was completely abused by the chakra divine tree. It's good now the origin power is also continuously absorbed by the chakra divine tree. It doesn't take a brain to know that the chakra divine tree will become stronger, or more precisely, the sea ancestors will become stronger. There is no way to fight, still fighting a hammer? It's all over. Joey Boy couldn't help but smile bitterly, opened his mouth, wanted to say something, but said nothing. It's over, everything is finished. He and fought for more than 800 years. In the end, the bamboo basket was empty, because the ancestors of the sea remade the wedding clothes. The clown turned out to be themselves. In vain he also laid out so many backhands. In the face of absolute power 2.8, there is no use for any eggs. Lost. And in the spirit world, Luffy also saw that the tree of devil fruit was the end of the strong crossbow, and the lost soul collapsed on the ground. He knew very well that everything was finished, and the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, had the last laugh. Am I the child of destiny? As soon as he thought of this, Luffy felt a little uncomfortable and wanted to cry. Since he's blue, he has become the emperor of the sea step by step, but in the end it is empty, and the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, has become the man who laughed last. He became a complete loser and joke. Chapter 167. The sky of the sea has changed, for subscription. With the shattering of the devil fruit tree, the origin power was continuously absorbed by the chakra divine tree, and Joey Boy, and Luffy all involuntarily fell into despair and powerlessness. No way for them, after Uranus and Pluton were blasted alive. The devil fruit tree is the last ultimate card. As a result, this seemingly awesome devil fruit tree, facing the chakra sacred tree of the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, is still a little vulnerable and is already about to be absorbed by the explosion. Despair. Deep despair spreads in Joey Boy, Luffy's inner madness. Of course, and that's not all. With the inevitable defeat of the devil fruit tree, whether it is the remaining pirates of the Straw Hat Major League or the marshal of the naval headquarters, Sakazuki, as well as celestial dragons, Momoshiki, Crane's staff officer, and others who were watching the live broadcast, they all fell into wordless silence and disbelief, and in that blank mind, 09 involuntarily appeared a few words. Is this the devil fruit tree? Lost, completely lost. Isn't even the devil fruit tree, which has absorbed so much devil fruit, no match for the sea ancestors? How is this possible? Finally, after a few minutes, Luo, Kid, Zoro, Robin, Uda, Beckman and the others finally relented. Their whole bodies were wet with sweat, they could no longer maintain a calm expression, and their cheeks showed a desolate expression. What? Why is this so? Something is basically wrong. Why is the devil fruit tree so vulnerable? Advertisement. It's over, it's all over. Sakazuki, who has always had great confidence in IM, is like Shileji, lost his soul to ultimate, and he finally paid by mistake. What a shit IM, actually pulled like this, he pressed the wrong shit. Is it especially the leader of the Celestial Dragons and 5 Elders, the masters behind the world government, the master of the Void Throne? I am afraid that he is not in vain, right? It's over, in the end, it was the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, who had the last laugh. Yes. Even if the devil fruit tree was summoned, it had no use for eggs, and it was still crushed by the ancestors of the sea. Rox, Roger, Whitebeard, Zephyr, Shiki and others looked at each other, and they could see the bitterness in their eyes, and this time, they were resurrected by Luo Lei, the ancestor of the sea, and they were taught a good lesson. You don't have to think about it to know, from now on. The sea will enter the era of the ancestors, but the thought of the world government that has ruled the sea for more than 800 years will also come to an end. Rox, Roger, Whitebeard and others still couldn't help but show a wisp of disdainful smiles. Dog Day IM and 5 Elders thought they were in control of everything, but they were ed by the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei at one time, which is really unhappy for the return of the heavenly Tao wheel. Garp is like losing his spirit, even in pure world reincarnation's body seems to be dozens of years old. He couldn't figure out why. Luffy was obviously a child of destiny, but in front of the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, it seems to have become the strongest in the world, and the D family is completely finished. Just thinking that he was killed by the ancestors of the sea, the dragon was killed by the ancestors of the sea, and Luffy was about to be killed. Garp's heart still hurt to the point that Ultimate really wants a family. Alas, looking at Garp, who was completely disheartened, Sengoku sighed heavily and didn't say anything more. Things have come to this point, advertisement any words are impotent rage. It can only be said that Sengoku underestimated the horror of the sea ancestor, Luo Lei, and knew that there would be such a fate. When the sea ancestor was just resurrected, he should have led the marine group to attack and strive to strangle the sea ancestor. Well, now the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei has developed to a full body, and the resistance of Tuche is somewhat pale. It's over. Joke unlike Zoro, Uda, Garp and others, everyone who stood in line with the ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei, showed joy and happy smiles. Perfect. Win. Absolutely dead. In other words, it's not that they can't do it, it's that the opponent is too pervert. The devil fruit tree has been absorbed by the chakra divine tree. What other cards do IM and Joey Boy have? The world government will become history, because the sea will enter the era of the ancestor of the sea, Lord Lule. As for the countless people watching the live broadcast on the sea, while their eyes were dull, there was only one thought in their hearts, that is, the sky of the sea has completely changed. IM and Joey Boy, no more, are far from being comparable to Lord Lule. No, it's not worth mentioning at all. The red-haired Shox showed a sad expression, shook his head, and the last hope in his heart was extinguished, and all the layout and plans were destroyed in front of the insoluble ancestor of the sea, Luo Lei. Hancock's pretty face showed a look of adoration, and he couldn't help but shake his fist. Lord Luo Lei really did not disappoint her, defeating IM and Joey Boy, to become the first person worthy of the name of the sea. Shirahoshi showed a contemptuous smile, and there was a bad breath in his heart. Kaido of the Beasts, Charlotte Linlin, Blackbeard, Ember, Quinn, and others began to cheer unabashedly, as if they had already decided that IM and Joey Boy had lost. Great, Luo Lei-sama. More than 800 years ago, she was suppressed by Uranus and Pluton, and Joey Boy and IM also persecuted her, forced her to reincarnate, and now, these two dog things, both defeated, and completely defeated, there is still some excitement and joy to think about it. Ha 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 ha, it's going to end, after all, we laughed to the end.